Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Start, man! All right! Episode 304 of Shirt Show! We're talking with Ryan from Ryonet in Washington. Let's go!
Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Dylan. I am the owner of Upstate Merch and the host of the Shirt Show podcast. My guest today was my buddy Ryan Moor from Ryonet, Allmade, MADE Lab, a bunch of other stuff. Been around the industry for forever. Most of you have probably learned how to screen print from Ryan and his videos on YouTube. But also, I got to have a sweet guest host, my big cuddly teddy bear, Dewey from Light Thriller. I've had him as a guest host before, but I also had an interview with him not that long ago. So if you want, go check that episode out. It's pretty awesome. Great dude. Awesome podcast that he has, and he's starting a screen printing shop. So it's really cool to get his insights as well. In this episode, we kind of were all over the place. We did get some of Ryan's story on how he started Ryonet, and then evolved into Allmade, and then we talked about MADE Lab, and we talked about just business in general, being an entrepreneur, kind of all the ups and downs that come with that. But we just kind of went into like a lot of life stories and a lot of, what it takes to do these things and planting seeds with your customers. I don't know. I felt like a lot of this was kind of deep, and it was just good to hear as a business owner and kind of where you are in your career. So this was a great one to kind of hear a lot of his backstory. I know he's got a bunch of videos out there on kind of what's going on, but it was fun to just shoot the shit with him and talk about some stuff. If you guys want to go deeper on these episodes, you can sign up for our newsletter. It is shirtshowofficial.com/newsletter. There'll also be a link in the description of this or on our Instagram if that's where you're looking. I write them every week from my kitchen table. It is kind of a little backstory on where I'm at with me and what I'm learning and what's going on. We also have tips and tricks. We have articles. We have shop hacks, industry news from Printing United. There's a bunch of stuff in there. Also, you will be the first ones to hear about our upcoming camps or educational things that we're going to be doing. So if you want to sign up, do so. It's awesome. I'd love to have you. This show would not be possible without our amazing partners. Frank. It all starts with a screen. Whether it's new frames or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. If you care about consistency, great registration, and buttery smooth prints, stop buying crappy screens and invest in the best. Learn more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, greatfuckingscreens.com, or FFFFrank.com. Let's be real, reclaiming screens kind of sucks, but EasyWay makes it suck way less. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals and equipment are built to clean faster, work better, and save you some sanity in the washout booth. They're running a monthly giveaway right now where you can get $250 in product credit. Head over to easyway.com/giveaway to enter today. It's kind of a no-brainer. Like $250 in product credit is great. You can buy a bunch of stuff with that. Or you can get a 5-gallon of all the really, really good stuff. Head over to easyway.com to enter today. EasyWay, it's the easiest way. Is your art backlog piling up? Graphics Source has your back. Whether you're a one-person shop or running a large production team, Graphics can either be your full-time art department or your a la carte option for artwork separations. They also have some of the best embroidery digitizing out there. Let them help you alleviate some of that stress. Be sure to check them out at graphicsource.com. SNS is that behind-the-scenes partner that every shop needs. With one website, one purchase order, 14 distribution centers with over 100 beloved brands, you can streamline your ordering and hit free freight faster than ever. SNS has 1 to 2 day shipping with the lowest error rate in the industry, making your orders show up on time. Order your blanks the smart way at ssactivewear.com. For over 90 years, Stahls has been the leading choice among apparel decorators for their heat transfer materials, heat press equipment, and custom transfer services. Not only do they continue to set the bar, but they are the #1 in education on all things heat press. Be sure to check them out on YouTube and order your transfers, patches, and so much more at stahls.com. Ryonet has always been that solid go-to resource for screen printers. With rock-solid supplies, deep educational resources, and support network that has your back, Ryonet has the tools, the knowledge to help you move forward. Be sure to check them out at screenprinting.com. If you guys are new to this, if you've been around for a while, you just want to get some more shop buddies, think about joining our Discord channel. It is shirtshowofficial.com/Discord. It is an awesome platform of anybody and everybody in our industry just kind of helping each other out. There is a giant channel of everybody just chatting and sharing things. And then there's categories and different channels of if you're into embroidery, if you're into screen printing, if you're into digital, whatever. Hop in, check it out. It's a great place to hang. shirtshowofficial.com/Discord. I want to say for you listening, watching, whatever you do, I appreciate you guys so much. It would mean the world to me if you guys could like, subscribe. I hate asking for this stuff, but it does help the channel grow. If you can just do me a quick solid, hit the button, like it, leave me a review, send me a DM on Instagram, something. Let me know what you think. Is there somebody you want to see on the show? Is there a topic you want me to tackle? I just want to hear from you. So if you could do that for me, that would be great. Enjoy this episode. I will see you guys on the next one. What up, handsome?
What up? How are you?
Oh, so much better now that you're here.
Oh, excellent.
It's been a while since I've done an episode with a co-host and done an intro. Like normally it's like, hey, let's just run and gun right into the episode. But now I get like 10 minutes to catch up with you. It's nice.
Absolutely, dude.
So what's up, dude?
I just finished up a blast of sales.
Walking around,
man. People were stoked. Like, really? Like here in St. John's? Yeah, I'm right down the road. And they're like, well, like, can you do like tote bags? And I can do tote bags and hats and shirts and whatever else.
I can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I'll print your kid. I don't, it doesn't matter. Like,
bring them by.
They were excited. So, I mean, who knows where that'll lead, but handed out probably 20 business cards, and then a couple places wanted extras because they knew guys in bands or whatever else. And,
right. So walk me through this as someone with anxiety about going back to doing door to door. What are you doing? What do you got in hand, and what's your approach?
I take a business card out, so it's in my hand. I am wearing my Light Thriller hoodie that I printed on a nice Carhartt hoodie. And I walk in and they're like, hey, can I help you? And I was like, hey, my name's Dewey. I'm a screen printer here in St. John's, and cruising shops to see if anyone needs some screen printing done or has ideas they want to turn into something, or, can I give you my card? And I handed my card, and they looked at the card, and a couple people looked at the card like, do you do band stuff? And I'm like, oh yeah, because the logo, it looks like a band logo. And
right.
Then we start talking band stuff, and one gym, actually, I was like, I saw your artwork on the front window. It's incredible. It's like a screen printer's dream. Like, it's crisp, it's vectorized already. And he's like, I designed that. And I was like, dude, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's why I came in here. And he's like, that's awesome. I'd love to, we're ordering shirts from a website.
You tickled his fancy right off the bat by hyping up his logo.
But you could see it immediately. His eyes lit up. And then
like you look like a guy who would appreciate this kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. He's I was like, so who does your shirts now? He's like, oh, we order them through this website, and it takes like 2 months to get it. And I was like, dude, call me. Like, I'm right down the road. As long as it takes to get the blanks here, and give me a day or two to print, and we're good to go.
Hell yeah, dude.
So he's stoked. He's going to talk. It's a family run gym. So he's like, you just missed the manager, but I designed the shirts, and we sell a lot of them, and I'm really tired of waiting. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hell yeah. So this was your first day of doing it?
Yeah. I talked to Kato from Thunderhouse the last 2 days, because she's been posting those hilarious recaps.
Right.
Which I love. And I hit her up. I was like, hey, I'm Dewey. I do this and blah, blah, blah. And she hit me back, and we were chatting yesterday on Instagram, and I was like, I'm just going to go do the same thing. I showed you that pricing list I made.
Yeah.
I shared that with her because I was like, what are you taking with you? Like, she's like, just business cards. I was like, I'd be willing to share this with you, like, and do something similar. But if they ask for a price, you can show them right away. And it has like a visual representation of brands and what it costs for 50, which is already putting that in their head of an order of 50 shirts instead of starting at 24.
Right.
And
because the first thing you always hear from anybody is, what's your minimum order quantity?
Yeah. Yep. I got one of those, and I got what's your minimum order? And the other one was, can you beat $15 a shirt? And I was like, yeah, I can, depending on what shirt you want. And if it's,
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was cool. It felt good to just get out and spread the word.
Yeah.
And interact with people. And I think that's the best way to do it is, I mean, you can write people on Instagram all day, but if you get in there face to face and like walk up to the counter and start a conversation.
See a big, beautiful, burly big dog walk in. Yeah, that'll sell right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just going out there and walking around is a really good way to go about it right now.
It can't be bad for you. I mean, you're out moving around. You're actively working on your shop. Like you're working on your business. Like Ryan will say, you know, work for your business, not at your business or whatever. Like, or not work on your business, not for your business.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was doing. Like, I was like, okay, I could hang out at home for a while until we were doing this. Or I was like, you know what, I'm going to go out for a couple hours and just hit the street. It's a nice day out. And I didn't walk around the backpack or anything. So I just, if they wanted to see samples, I have them. They're just in the van. I'd go get them. But yeah. So
they're just down here. They're just down here at my white van. Why don't you follow me and I'll show you?
It's murdered out. I rattle canned.
It's always a giveaway when the windows are spray painted from the inside.
Mm-hmm. Or have the Reflectex up still from camping.
Exactly.
In the windows.
Yeah, the samples are actually right in they're a little more in the back. Why don't you hop in and find those for me?
So I've just been working on just clearing out the shop, like trying to get rid of everything that doesn't need to be down there so I can make it more efficient. After these couple jobs, I realized there's a couple hiccups where it's, I have to walk around this, or I have to, just slows you down. So just maximizing that space.
Yeah, getting everything in a good flow to where, goods come in one side and you go around and come out the other side. It's not like a walking back and forth all day doing stupid tasks.
Exactly. Especially in a basement shop where there's ductwork you're hitting with your head if you go certain directions. And I'm just really grateful to have the space. Like I had it in that house 6 years and I just started using the basement in the last 2 years. So,
why was that? Was it just not like ready to go? Did you have to do a bunch of work to it?
I didn't have anything to put down there. Like I wasn't doing the band thing anymore. So I didn't need a practice space. So we just threw some boxes down there and we had a full garage too. So, but the garage isn't heated or air conditioned. So I don't want to print out there, especially in the wintertime.
Right.
The basement has the furnace in it. So it stays warm in the winter and cool in the summer, but never really below like 70 degrees, 65 degrees.
It's a good spot for a print shop.
Yeah. Ventilation's an issue, but I'm working on that. That's also what I'm working on.
How's the podcast going?
Good. I just did an episode with Chris Crummett, who did our first Anatomy of a Ghost record, reminiscing. And then I just did another episode with Joe from Anatomy of a Ghost last night for like 3 hours. But yeah, getting back in the swing of doing it more regularly now that everything's kind of working itself out.
Yeah, it was funny. Me and Christina went on that cruise and she was like, I talked to Dewey and Dewey told me to say hi to Kenny and whatever. And I was like, I'm the guy in those situations where I love and appreciate the human being. You know what I mean? Like, It's like going to a fan, like Comic-Con thing or something and seeing somebody that you admire and you love their work. But I'm like, what am I going to say to this person that they haven't already heard like a million times? Like, I'm going to walk up and be like, I like what you do. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I always feel like I don't need to bother this person. Like I can admire them from afar. I don't know what conversation I would have with them otherwise. This is weird. And we walked up and like saw Kenny, like he was standing there talking to someone. And I was like, hey, there's Kenny, starting line or whatever. And Christina like stayed standing there. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going to talk to him. I was like, fucking A. Like, like I really don't want to. Like I don't at all. And I was like awkwardly like standing over here because I was like, I don't want to talk to him. But she's gonna be like, this is Dylan and blah, blah. And I was just like, fuck. So she went up and she was like, like says like, Dewey says hi or whatever. And it's like super out of context. Like to her credit, like it was funny, but it was like, he was like, oh, do you know Dewey or whatever? And then he was like, oh yeah. And we talked, and then I scooted in like once there was like common ground of like, okay, we have something to talk about.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, he's such a good guy. And he was like, yeah, he's such a good guy. And like all this other stuff. And then I was like, all right, like, I don't know what to say now. Like, I'm going to be like,
did you literally dance out of there?
I always do the reverse, like the like backwards thing. Yeah, dude, like, it's like, I don't know. Like I want to say like, hey, I've loved all your music since I was in high school and, it means a lot to me. And, leaving live with Ian from Newfound Glory. That video I probably have seen a million times over and over again in my bedroom. Like, I don't want to say shit like that to somebody. It's weird. So I was just like, all right, man, enjoy the show.
Have you listened to Vacationer, Kenny's other project?
A little bit. It's not,
good.
I mean, it's pretty good.
It's not starting line, but it's pretty good. And he was, the last time we hung out was in Portland. I was in his hotel room with him because he was just touring by himself. And we're talking and about all this different stuff. And then watched him play at Vacation. It was a totally different vibe. But he's great. He was so much younger than the other guys too. Like in starting line, he was like years younger, I believe. It's cool to watch him do those songs from back then now because his voice has changed a lot. Yeah. I know they tuned down a little bit too to compensate for that, but it's cool watching him still, play those songs. And
he was very stoked to be playing and was saying that this was the best his voice has like ever sounded or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I like them. I think that their new record, the Starting Line's new record, is my favorite record of theirs. So,
dude, it's a good record. It's really good.
Which is rare for a band trying to make a comeback to have that be their fucking no skips. Exactly. Yeah.
It's great. He's a musical phenom.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's let Ryan in.
Speaking of
we'll talk to him about it. He likes this kind of stuff too.
He loves pop punk.
Hey, beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Me and Dewey were just talking about the new Starting Line record. Have you heard it?
You shared it with me last time we were talking on, I can't remember. I think that main call that we did. Yeah. And I have heard a little bit of, I agreed. Like the first thing I thought of when I heard it was what you'd said is like, is this but then it's growing on me a little bit. I haven't listened to it enough though.
It's a little more like mature voice. We were just talking, Dewey said that his voice had changed so much that it's a little bit different.
Are they touring?
Yeah, they're getting around. I think they're playing in Atlantic City here, like in the next week or two or something like that. When we were just there, I saw that they were playing some festival or something that they had going on. But the conversation we were having was just like approaching bands like that have been around and know what they're doing, or maybe even a CEO of a company as a print shop owner. Like, is it weird to walk up to them and be like, hey, who prints your shirts? You know what I mean? Because they've been around. They probably already have somebody. Management's doing it. I feel like you, more than most, probably don't have an issue with it. You'll just be like, hey, like, how can I talk to you about this situation? But for me, it's weird. Like, I don't know how I feel about it.
That's the great part about t-shirts is that it's such an easy conversation to have. It's like, oh, t-shirts, cool. Like, I like the design. Who prints it? Like, it's not like you're asking for their business or anything like that. You could just have a conversation and then it goes from there. It's a very casual thing to have a conversation about. Pretty easy opener.
Well, I've heard your story too about like the MXPX situation where like you started talking to him and he was like, oh, I print shirts too, or I like shirts too. And I order my stuff from Ryonet. And you were like, that's me. Like,
yeah, it was a full circle moment. I was actually had like a deja vu, like getting on for this. Cause I was like kind of rushing to get here. I had to go home and change. And like, I do super early morning meetings with Brandon every Tuesday. And so it's like 5:30 in the morning and I don't have time to like do anything before that. And so I went home, like kind of did my morning routine later midday. And I was like, I'm going to be late. And then I had this like reoccurring dream of like, I'm going to miss our band gets a chance to open for MXPX. And then we just completely blow it. Like we forget our back line. Like the drummer forgets his kick. We suck. And it was a whole, I still have the nightmare today. Like I probably had at least one in the last year, but that was a pretty awesome moment because it was just like t-shirts. Yeah. And then it just opened up a whole pretty cool relationship. I was actually talking to Joe from Legionnaire Apparel, who printed his shirts. Cause I asked like, who prints your shirts? Well, him and his mom do some of his merch, but didn't do a lot of his stuff. And he had a brand with this Joe from Legionnaire and opened up a conversation with Dutch Bros and, like Guru Screen Printing. It was like opened up so many conversations from just that one, just like who prints your shirts?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing because it could turn into that, but I feel like so many times it's the thing that I said about being scared about it was that it's usually like they're like, I don't deal with it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about business right now. Like you're seeing me in a public setting. Like, why are you bothering me with this stuff? So I feel like I always would need some other conversation starter or some way to get into it before I even brought it up. or let them bring it up somehow. Be like, oh, this merch is cool. And they're like, yeah, I'm looking to get some or whatever. I'm like, well, I know somebody. But I don't want to be the one to fucking bring it up.
Yeah.
So
No, I wouldn't be shy about it. I think a lot of bands get pretty personal with their merch because it's their image and likeness on a t-shirt.
Right.
So they know quite a bit about it.
yeah, makes sense. So Ryan, me and you had done an episode back when I did Upstate podcast before Shirt Show. For those of you who don't know that exists, I did 20 episodes, got my feet wet in the podcasting space, and then I started doing Shirt Show with Andy, and then I've been doing this for about 6 years. And then Dewey I had on the show a while ago and loved his story, and we were talking about Ryan, and then he was like, yeah, how come you haven't had him on the show yet? And I was like, yeah, I have. Like, what are you talking about? And then I realized that you hadn't been on Shirt Show yet. And I was like, how the fuck have I not had Ryan on this show yet? Like, this doesn't make sense. So here you are. We kind of had some, let's figure out the scheduling, and you're a very busy man, but we finally got you wrangled and you're here.
I'm excited to be here with both of you. I love your episode together. It was awesome. Like the whole band connections, and Dewey, you had such great advice. You just jived together pretty well. So excited to be talking to both of you, and pretty cool that you're co-hosting today, Dewey.
Likewise. I was honored to be asked. And when he told me who the guest was, I was like, yes, finally. And I'm going to be there.
I debated about, I think I did it like right out here when I did the Upstate podcast.
It was
like just
outside. It was on like a
table.
picnic table.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just literally right out that window. And I debated doing that again because it's a beautiful day in Portland, and that doesn't happen that often.
Just show us up with the beautiful scenery.
It's an amazing day down here. I was telling Dylan I was out doing sales on foot today in St. John's, and how stoked people were when I walked in and didn't ask for like a product or something. I was like, hey, my name's Dewey. I'm a screen printer out here in St. John's. And like, really? And they just got excited and talking about all kinds of different. I mean, it was super easy to just open the conversation, and I was shocked. Probably 4 out of 5 were actually excited about it, and the 5th one was not excited about it, but they were just like, "Oh yeah, we're not really doing much right now, but do you have your card? And yeah, we'll call you." Cool. But it was a good little jaunt, a beautiful day. Get some exercise and spreading the word,
4 out of 5
Good
is
on you
pretty
getting
good.
out there. That's awesome.
Got to do it, man.
Yeah. That's when you know you got a good product. If you can get 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5, thumbs up. Like, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
If everyone tells you to go to hell, then you got to rethink your life choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's going to tell you, Dewey, to go to hell. You're kind of a little more on the intimidating. Yeah.
The sentence doesn't usually get finished before it stops.
You already have a hand on the throat.
What?
It seems like the industry it's so much easier to sell t-shirts when it's sunny outside. It's like, thank God for spring.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you guys have it too.
It's been a rough winter.
Yeah, you guys have it in like Pacific Northwest too, but like here it's gray. Everything's dead. It's stick season. No con. But like it's just miserable, and then everybody's mood is just so down, and seasonal depression and stuff. And you get one day of sunshine, and it's like all of a sudden t-shirt orders come in, like people are stoked to like be alive again. So it's like when we get a full week of sunshine, it's like instantly the taps are turned back on.
Yeah, it's looking at like sales, daily sales, especially from Ryonet consumable side. It is, if the weather hits like across the country, like it's hit like multiple times this year, it is just like, and of course, I mean, if it's a blizzard and people are shoveling their driveway, the last thing on their mind is ordering their next t-shirt order.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, Ryan, one of the things I want to talk to you about, I guess it's many things, but like I don't know how much we need to get into your backstory because there's 100 videos online about it, like how you got into doing Ryonet and whatever. But you have your hand in a bunch of different things, like between Ryonet and Allmade and MADE Lab and all kinds of other things. Can you give us, I guess, a little bit of backstory on how you got to Ryonet, and then we'll kind of go off from there?
Yeah. Back to the band stuff, I was printing shirts for our band. Both my bandmates are in the industry. Brandon runs Ryonet, and Chris Miles runs Nortec Graphics in Arkansas. So Chris was our drummer, Brandon was our singer, And Brandon and I printed shirts. We were horrible screen printers. Somehow, like, one of our friends' bands ended up asking us to help him print his own shirts and like sell me this little wood kit on how to do it. And I figured, I was always an entrepreneur, and I figured, like, hey, if that guy wants to do it, maybe some other bands out there want to do it. And so went out there and started selling these like really archaic homemade presses. Night Owls, like there's some pretty big print shop. Like Night Owls bought this press. I remember I gave a 2-color press that I made in this barn that I rented from our friend. And it was the worst thing ever. Like it wouldn't I didn't know what off contact was. There was no registration gate. So it just spun in a circle. And then you had to kind of like spin it and line it up. Night Owls bought one of those and started their business with it on eBay. It's crazy. So there is, and I was talking to him at a water-based camp or WB camp, and I'm like, no way. They showed a picture of it, like, that, I built that. They're like, yeah, I think we got it from you. Like, that was before there was a Ryonet. We were just selling stuff on eBay. And that eventually led to, it's crazy. Yeah. They were horrible. I gave one to Brandon because we wanted to do a 2-color design. And he's like, literally, I took that press and I threw it in the dumpster and I just started putting screens on the shirt on the table. That works better than the press.
Well, yeah. If there's no registration gate, then that's all you're doing anyway. But your version has them just held up in the air and you can spin them around. There's no actual place to set it. It's just pulling it down. Dewey, before, I mean, that's kind of how you got involved in this. I heard your story about the whole like Deftones thing or whatever, but did you ever just like print kind of with a crude way as a band to kind of get by? Kind of the same thing Ryan was trying to do.
We got some Speedball ink from a craft store and an old screen from like a garage sale. And I couldn't even remember if it had already had emulsion on it, like old emulsion hadn't been rinsed out. And we got some emulsion and we figured out how to get it to actually like stencil. And then we would lay it on a piece of cardboard, the shirt on a piece of cardboard on the basement floor, and then lay the screen on it. And one of us would stand on the screen so it wouldn't move and the other one would pull. And we would print anywhere on the shirt, like the bottom, like the appendix, basically, like, because back then bands were printing all over the place. And we print this like off weird print on, and some of them like are on eBay for a lot of money because they're the original shirts, but like the early Portugal Man shirts and old Anatomy of Ghost shirts, like you'd see the pull and it would be like etched through the middle where the screen didn't quite catch, or like it was super weird and they always looked like crap, but people bought them like crazy. And we never wash test or stretch tested anything. We just sold them. And some of them are still around. There's some on Depop or eBay for a lot of money. But you could see it was like we were trying. Like we were excited about it because we're like, well, we could do this ourselves. We designed them ourselves, printed them at Kinko's for free. I don't remember how we got that deal, but someone had a card or something that still worked in the copier. And then literally just like did everything in the sun, like used the sun or used whatever it was crazy. I don't know how they came out visibly, even like you can even read them.
Did you start with water-based Speedball ink too? I started with Speedball ink. Dylan, did you start with Speedball ink?
No, when I started, I was already kind of the first thing I bought when I started the shop was a Wilflex Epic kit. Like I went right into a whole kit from Wilflex. That was my first press was a silver press, but we were using, a Wilflex kit, like just a small quart kit, not gallons or anything. And then I kind of hit the ground running. But my experience is different than your guys'. Kind of like when I was in the band, I was screen printing in my wife's grandfather's sign shop. So he had some manual presses and he kind of showed me. But again, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just mashing ink into a shirt. And then he had this like homemade flash unit thing, and his the shirt is done is when it started smoking like a crazy amount. He's like, oh, when it's smoking, it's done. For sure. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's a good gauge for like doneness. And it was same thing as Dewey. Like we would just randomly print a bunch of shirts. We would go to Target. We would go to Michael's and just buy random shirts off the shelf, print them, and then sell them, and then go to the next show and do blue shirts this time instead, or red shirt this time instead, so that people who already bought the blue shirt now felt like they had to own the red shirt. And it was just like, that was the method. And then when the band stopped, I was like, well, I'm kind of like, I don't need to print shirts anymore. Like I never thought I was going to get into screen printing. It was just the way to sell merch, to make money as a band, to go to the next show or to do the next thing. But yeah, crude ways kind of worked. And the funny thing about those, like Dewey was saying about like them going for a lot of money, is I feel like those are so much more personal. Like there's so much more real, like, oh, the band made these, not like some company they hired it out to. It was like, no, fucking Dewey himself stood on a screen while someone else pulled a squeegee in a basement and they touched it with their hands and they did all this stuff. Like that stuff's way more valuable to me than buying a shirt from some POD thing online or something.
That's one thing, Ryan, I think you've nailed so hard, is uniting those two schools of thought of the professional and the amateur can come into the shop, come into Ryonet and get treated exactly the same way and get catered to what they need. Not, hey, you need to buy this auto, you need to buy this and this. It's like, well, all right, what are you working on? And then try this emulsion, try this. And then the education piece, educating the amateur to then become a professional. And it's just a long-term investment for buying gear from Ryonet, but you've united those two camps and very successfully. And I really admire that about what you've done, because you've taken a lot of people that were in their basement doing just stuff on that with what they could find and giving them access to skills and product to up their game and turn it into a production, take that homegrown feel and that really grassroots feel and do thousands of them instead of just 10 of them, and making it inclusive for everybody. I love that. And that's why I keep coming back, because it's like, I just feel at home there, like I have a stupid question or something. I don't feel like a stupid question. Anyone will answer it. Or if they can't, they'll find someone who can, or you'll answer it. Like, it's really cool. And I love that. That was one thing that attracted me to the actual industry was, hey, this works on all levels. If I want to go this far, I can. If I don't, I can stay here. And that's okay. But here's how to do it. Take it with what you will.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it that way too. The Ryonet team is, and all of our companies are super passionate about helping somebody be successful. There's a really good quote that I like by Zig Ziglar. It says, like, you can get anything in life you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want. Mm-hmm. And service is a value of every single company, of like making the client, whether they're buying a press or a piece of equipment or a t-shirt or ink, be successful. But it is hard, because once you know how the way it should work, it's really hard to put yourself backwards. But I think so much of our team have started from the grassroots and have done it where you're smashing ink. I think it should be the name of a band, Smashing Ink. It's like, because that's what we did. We smashed ink. There was no actual printing. It was more stencil smashing. Mm-hmm. And that so many of our team has done that, and they just remember that. And then you kind of go back there for a minute and then educate on a little bit more of the right practices to be more successful, more repeatable, have better quality at the end.
It's funny that you say that, Ryan, because I just thought of something now that totally makes sense. And kind of like what Dewey was saying and you were saying, is just like, it's hard to go back to a certain spot when you know what the future is. Like, okay, it's good to do an automatic, it's good to use an autocoder, it's good to do these things. And I think it's funny because, like, us as shop owners who started from a manual or standing on a screen in a basement to getting the next tool to finally having an automatic in a shop and stuff like that, is if I meet somebody who, like Dewey, is starting out on a manual or whatever, like, I instantly can travel back in time and know how he feels in that setting, because I did that for years. Mm-hmm. Like, I could put myself in his shoes and be like, oh, this would be my advice to get you to the next step, or this would be my advice to just use what you currently have. The problem is when a company, and you can attest, I guess you can talk about this with Ryonet or how you guys do it, but like, if I hire a sales rep and I just show him the way it is now, he or she would have a really hard time talking to somebody below that, because they only know this one thing. They came into a shop as an automatic printer, or they got taught to sell inks or whatever to people at a certain level. They don't know how to get into the shoes of the person who is starting off with wooden screens in the sun.
And that's hiring traditional sales people make it hard for that reason.
Yeah.
Just because. So I think if you look at our team, a lot of them don't come from that traditional, pretty much. There's been a few that have been successful, and those have had pretty long histories in the industry, but like the traditional rep won't work with our companies as well, because you don't relate to all the sectors. You can only relate to maybe the top sector or the mid sector.
That's what's nice about like a Josh Wells or something, where he's been printing and knows all the, most of the things, where he can pop in and be like, well, this works. Have you tried this? Or I've tried this different thing or whatever. Yeah.
I remember his interview. You guys talked about it on the show. Like, how do you cure ink? Like, oh, that's wrong. He's like, you can't cure ink with a flash dryer. Like, yeah. You just smokes. You smell it. Right. You can totally cure it with a flash dryer.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's like, that's not possible.
Yeah. So we left off where you were making wooden presses. What happened next?
My dad, it was January 31st, I think, January 30th, somewhere at the end of January. Horrible weather outside. I did window washing, pressure washing, sold screen printing kits on eBay, sold all my nice guitar stacks to the pawn shop, then would go buy them back when window washing, would open back up and I have enough money to go buy them back. Sometimes I forget them. I've literally left 8-10 cabs, like Ampeg 810 setups, like it had pawn. I'm like, damn, I forgot it there. And so I would just hustle. And my dad, so I wasn't doing anything. I think I had $20, and my dad asked me to go to this internet marketing workshop on how to start an online business. And I was like, that is the worst thing that I could think about doing today, Dad. And he had helped plant this entrepreneurship kind of seed in me, because he got into Amway. My uncle was in Amway, and they did this multi-level thing. We would go down to these conferences, and me and a lot of my friends would do it, just even when we were 16, we would take road trips to Salt Lake City, Utah, and go to an Amway conference for the weekend. And we learned a lot. And it was always plan to free enterprise and start your own business and kind of do your own thing. And that kind of totally went into music for me. So I hadn't really thought about doing business the right way. But when he asked me to do that, I just met my now wife and started dating her. And I thought maybe I should look at something else. I don't have any money right now. If I ever wanted to get married one day, then might be something I could do. And so went to it, and ended up, he invested in this website platform called Stores Online back in 2004. Unfortunately, bought the coaching system, because without the coaching system, there's no way in hell I would have gotten those websites off the ground. But started 4 websites, screenprinting.com, which was silkscreening-supplies.com, shirtspace.com, and 2 other websites that never really, one was a tool website, one was an herbal supplement website. And the idea was really, we're just going to build websites. And the screen printing website did really well. I remember at that conference thinking if I could do $30,000 a month in sales, I would not have to wash windows anymore. And that happened pretty quick. We had already hired our first team member, Sean. He's still here today. He was our roadie. So he came from the band too. And he was at the shop making these crappy wood presses, and I was washing windows, and I almost fell off the ladder on a 3-story window. And I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. This is dangerous, and I need to go focus on this. And the next month after that, we did 30,000. And that company then they called me up and followed up. The coach followed up, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's 6 months into it. And it's maybe $50,000 a month in sales. And he's, what? How old are you? I was I'm 23. And it's there's no way. Yeah. So he invited me and Sean to go to Salt Lake, go to a conference, learn how to do online marketing. And then they invited me to go speak with them. And so I learned a ton about sales and internet marketing over that next year through going on the road with them, and just we rebranded at Ryonet. We changed the business name to Ryonet because we wanted to become more official, a corporation, and got a C Corp or S Corp, whatever it was. And that year we went from, I remember January, I started speaking with them, and we did like $90,000 a month and $180,000 a month. And by the end of that first year, we're doing like $4 million a year in sales. It was crazy.
But that
It
was
was all based off of Riley Hopkins presses.
I was going to say that was all just building the wooden presses and selling them on eBay.
No, the wooden presses ended. We met a company called Logo Screen Printing out of Missouri that they were the magnet presses. And there's been people on your show that have talked about the magnet presses. Mm-hmm. The magnets would like drop and hit you in the head. The screens would hit you in the head. And then there's like the flash dryers would catch on fire. They were not great quality equipment, but fortunately we got hooked up with Riley Hopkins, one of our vendors. CCI got us hooked up in Riley Hopkins, and so started selling bigger equipment. So when we started selling the Riley Hopkins 4x4 kind of package is really when you start selling those packages. They were going for like 10 grand, and you would see those. They were just, people would order them online. It was crazy because it was like the early days of the internet.
Right.
And it was nuts. And back then I wasn't really super passionate about this industry the way I am now. We were just growing a website company, and screen printing happened to be the thing. We made videos because it is really hard to learn how to screen print. And so that's why like on all those old videos, I'm like wearing like business guy stuff, like a dress shirt. And I didn't really necessarily want to be a screen printer. I wanted to be a business guy online, and screen printing just happened to be one of those websites that took off.
When you initially started the website thing, you said you had like 4 or 5. Was the goal with, I guess, owning websites and I guess growing them and selling them, if that was the approach, was it just like pick 5 things you're into and make the websites and see which one catches? Was that the goal?
Yeah, it was just different niches. It was all about drop shipping. The screen printing, we couldn't drop ship though. It was very hands-on. And so the t-shirts were drop shipped. Like we worked with the local vendor in Portland and drop shipped them. No integrations, all manual orders, and everything else was drop. We almost started a custom ink like knockoff site. I almost bought a T-Jet like direct to garment printer, signed a lease on them. Like I remember reading lease paperwork. I'm like, this is horrible. This is a really bad deal. And so Sean and I decided not to do it. And the screen printing website was really the one that took off the most. And so we sold the t-shirt website to one of my partners, still Jeff, who still runs it today, Shirt Space. Actually, it's a bigger company than Ryonet is by double. It's still doing great. So we sold that because it was one of those, like a Jiffy shirt model where it wasn't a true wholesale model. And so we didn't really want to, we wanted to be more on the wholesale level. And we didn't have any of the integrations to grow it or anything. And so we sold that, and he's done extremely well with it. And then just brought it all under Ryonet. I've gone through several iterations in business where like you start a bunch of different businesses, then you kind of consolidate them, and then start a bunch of different ones, and you can kind of consolidate them. And so, but it's always under a mind frame of trying new things and building new products or finding new partners that you end up finding new solutions, software products, whatever it might be, to serve the screen printer or the decorator.
All right, well, let's step out of because I kind of see you as this, and you can elaborate on this, is like from being someone who is in business but wouldn't necessarily call myself an entrepreneur as far as like I'm a business person or whatever. I'm an artist who turned into, I have to figure out how to run a business in order for this thing to be legit. And watching a shitload of Shark Tank, is as a business owner like you, Ryan, is it kind of like you said, cast this net of ideas or invest in these companies because you see the potential, and you're okay if they fail, you're okay if they turn into something else because you tried and it could become something big, but you got to know when to let it go. Like, what is your approach with that? Because I feel like I've seen your hands in a bunch of little things here and there, and then it either works or it doesn't, or you pivot and then you consolidate. Like, how has that been for you up until now?
Well, you have to always be trying new things as a business, and we have a great culture that's open to those ideas, and if the moment you stop being open to those ideas is the moment like you're going to get ran over. But that's one thing. I think it's okay if you fail. If you fail, you learn from it. And we've had some pretty big failures throughout the years and almost catastrophic, like business ending failures. that have ended up turning out okay or taught really good lessons. So yeah, I don't know. It's a great question. One of the things that Dewey and you talked about earlier is whenever trying a new idea, I love the 80% stick rate rule. Like when you're trying, like selling Allmade, pitching, come start a t-shirt company with us and, you know, shut your business down for a week and come to Haiti. And it was like, it was an 80% sell rate to do that. And I was like, okay, well, this idea must have some legs. You know, anytime you can get like, you walk in the door, you have a decent pitch put together and you can get like 4 out of 5 yeses, you know, or 8 out of 10 yeses, then you know you have a pretty good idea. And then building a business around it. The building a business around is the hard part. And that's why we've gone through, like, at one point in time, I think we had 13 businesses, and then we consolidated them all down to Ryonet. And then now there's 5 different businesses with different partners. And so it's the building a business is the hard part. When you do that, it's hard to have like the skunk works in this new startup inside a bigger business, but it's also hard to start a business on, you know, from scratch. So
Yeah.
there's really, I don't know, there's not a great answer.
I feel like with some of that too, is it's like you have the initial idea, you have the excitement of over the idea, the plan, or, you know, what the outcome might be. But then there's all the logistics and the owning a business and the insurances and, oh, well, actually I have to fill out all this paperwork. Or I'm sure with Allmade and stuff, it was like, oh, well, there's tariffs and these issues and getting it made, and where do we get it made, and how does it work, and all of that. Just at some point it gets to be like, is this worth doing?
Yeah. You got to really love what you're doing.
The
and who
long
you're doing it with,
inhale before
you know?
that, answering that question.
Yeah. You do. You do. You have to love. I was talking to Brandon today about it, because you get, especially during the winter, and I heard you've talked about it on the show recently, Dylan, is like during the winter months when this industry kind of dies and it's all gloomy outside, it's hard. You know, you got to really love what you do and who you're doing it and why you're doing it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Brett would always use the Mark Cuban quote of like, if you feel like giving up, remember why you started, you know, and if that's a good reason for you, then you keep going at it.
Yeah.
Figuring out different ways to do it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a formula to business, but it's very hard to learn. There's not necessarily a school you can go to learn it, but once you learn how to do it and you can start to repeat it throughout different teams and organizations, there's a formula, 100%.
Yeah, I think my personal opinion on that is just kind of like, you have to be able to, I mean, physically and mentally grow calluses of, like, I always say getting kicked in the nuts, but I feel like you just have to at some point get okay with getting kicked in the nuts over and over and over again to be like, I guess I'm just going to do this. Like, all of my business has been try this out, fail hard, learn, okay, don't touch that again, that's hot, and then do the next thing and try this. And then eventually you get bumpered on so many times of not to do things that you get in this lane of like, oh, this works. And then you ride that until the next innovation comes, and then it gets wide again, and then you get bumpered back into a smaller lane again, and then you keep going. And it's like, that's my entire career of just like, try a bunch of shit, fail at stuff, find out which one works, and then just do that. And then somebody asks you now and they're like, oh, you're successful and blah, blah, blah. Like, give me your advice. I'm like, dude, I just have been beaten, battered until now, and I'm still alive. That's my advice to you, is just love what you're doing enough to where the kicks in the nuts don't hurt as much, because you still love doing what you're doing.
It's all about perspective, man. There's a lot of successful people out there that after work pay people to kick them in the nuts because they've learned to enjoy it. And that's, I think, the ultimate takeaway of perspective is, if you can make something that's so brutalizingly feared and anxiety laden into a pleasurable experience, you've won in life, because you could find yourself happy anywhere, you know? It's just all perspective. Like, yeah, it hurts for a minute, and then maybe you move on. Like, you know, the kicking in nuts analogy just always gets me when you say it, because I'm like, dude, there's There's
people who pay for
that. They pay for that. They pay a lot of money for that.
I would rather. I like the Tyson quotes, like everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Yeah. I'd rather get punched in the face.
That's when life starts, though. That's when it starts. When you get hit in the face, you don't know where it came from. You're still kind of like, what's going on? Coming to like that feeling will change your whole life, the way you feel in that moment. And there's something to that too. Like it's when you get completely shut down or showed up by something that you had no idea could do that. You know, the tiniest guy in the bar knocks you on your ass. Like, it's like, oh, maybe I'm not, you know, where I thought I was. And then you regroup and you survive. It's just an awesome little perspective.
I like to challenge our teams with that. It's like, what if you plan to get punched in the face? What if the plan is to get punched in the face?
Let's switch it to face now that Dewey made it sexual.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So, and then sometimes winning is not dying.
Yeah.
You get so down of like, oh, I'm down in sales, or I'm, you know, we had a worse year, or this month sucked. But sometimes being able to fight again the next day or play the next game is winning. And so, especially the last few years have been just so interesting. And whether it's economic or weather or whatever, you know.
To be vulnerable, me and Chris had this conversation yesterday. There's some of these days, like after you're done printing or done at my desk or whatever, I'll walk out and someone will still be here. And me and Chris just had this conversation because he's been with me since the very beginning. He was my very first hire, been my best friend since forever. And we started talking about how things are going right now. And, you know, over the last couple of weeks, things have really like kind of kicked up and like sales are coming back for the year. And I'm like, fuck yeah, like things are looking great or whatever. But I mean, I've said it on the show a bunch of times, like last year and half of the year before that sucked ass. Like last year was flat for us. We weren't down. It was just, as a business owner, you look at it and you're like, we just kind of rode. Like it was weird and I didn't like the feeling. It was flat. It was whatever. But you know, especially in the like coming off of a flat year, you don't have a lot of reserves that you build up in the summertime. So the winter's extra hard. Because normally what you would do is you'd be busy all summer. You'd have all this money in your savings account. And then in your slow months, you're like, cool, I got money to pull from or good, whatever. Well, I had no extra. I had a flat year. So I had just whatever. So all winter long, it's been feast or famine of like, cool, whatever jobs come in, we have enough to do what we're going to do. And then people are going home or we're, you know, working a couple days of the week and we're doing whatever. And, you know, we were talking about it of, you know, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And he was asking me like, if I knew what I know now, would I start this business in the first place? Because he's actually starting a business now. He's starting like a soap company with his wife. And we were talking about his company and everything else. And I was just like, you know, and he's been through all the shit years because he was talking about some employees coming up to him and asking him like how we were doing and whatever. And he's like, dude, right now is gravy because we went through years where we were sitting in the office with no heat. We had a kerosene heater in the floor in front of us. We'd leave work with black boogers. We were pissing in with water bottles because the toilet was frozen. Like all these things that we had done. And even in that moment, we were like, this rules. We're doing this ourselves. We're not working for anybody else. We're fucking just making this work. And it's like, now we're in this beautiful shop. We have all these things. Everybody's payroll's paid every week, no matter how slow it is, like payroll's still paid, like all these, nobody's going without. And I was like, yeah, dude, I didn't really think about it like that. Like that wasn't the case always. You know, if we had a really hard, slow winter or something, it would be like, hey guys, you have to wait till next week to get a paycheck because it's just, there's no work. Like it's too slow. And now it's like, no, paychecks are paid every week, no matter what, and all these other things. And I was like, yeah, that makes me proud as an owner to say, like, I can at least do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty fortunate here in like owning everything, like owning the building, owning all my equipment. Like I don't have a lot of overhead when it comes to that. So I can weather the storm. But the plus out of this conversation was I felt proud that I can at least like make sure all of these things are happening and the wheels are still on and we're still going. But it's kind of like, if it is rough for the entire industry, not just me, and it is kind of hard and whatever, is it's like, if I can weather this storm and in the storm, look at my business and make us more efficient or figure out better ways to do business, or these, when you're hungry, you can do more things. I feel like after this year and a half, 2 years of slop or whatever shit it's been, I'm going to come out way stronger than I ever have been, because I made it through it. And I feel, like you said, feel successful in that I'm just continuing.
100%. And setting yourself up, I have listened to the shirt show since you guys started, and it's been really cool to see your evolution in business as you've gotten a lot of different perspective, as you've grown, as you've gone through hard times, But one of the things that I necessarily didn't have the same philosophy in, and I've changed that philosophy, is the way you pay for everything in cash. You have this, you own your building, you own your equipment. I think it's super smart. There's obviously two theories of business of you use other people's money. And that's a theory that a lot of people go on. And we did that at Ryonet, and got us a lot of trouble, And so I think it's a different perspective now once you have those hiccups, you're in for it. The bank's all right, we're going to come get the keys. They're wait a minute, time out.
Right.
And so
they don't care that you have a mindset of I can make this work next year. Give me 6 months or whatever. They don't care. They don't trust you. They want it now. And I've said this multiple times on the show too. I don't want to claim that I planned that. I'm not I just grew up with no money, and I don't like owing people things, because a lot of times when you owe people things, the reality is you don't have the money to pay them back because you didn't have the money in the first place. So my whole thing with that is I don't want to owe anybody a dime. I just want to fucking pay my bills. I want to own the building I'm in, own the equipment, whatever, because I know those slow months are coming. I know that it's going to be hard sometimes. And I don't want to be well, it's fine in the summertime when I owe $10,000 a month in equipment and this and that and the other thing. And then January hits and you're dude, how the hell am I going to get $10,000 to pay this equipment loan or whatever it is? And again, that was always out of fear. That was never a smart business decision. That was just it just worked out for me. So I guess that is something I can give somebody as advice at some point. And I have used it a few times with friends. And Dewey, I don't know if we talked about it or not, but multiple shops I've been hey, what's your advice with this? And they're well, we want to go get this, auto kit, and we want to get a storefront and this and this. I'm dude, start in some abandoned shitty warehouse where you're afraid to get stabbed. Start there, get a manual until you can't manually print anymore, then get an auto, and do it this way. I promise you it's going to be better in the long run, because you're not going to be buried in debt.
And regroup at that point and realize, where was I most profitable? Was I more profitable when I got 6 more autos, or was I happier and more profitable when I had 2? That
right
lesson I hear all the time on the show, which is great. But
yeah. Well, yeah, I had Jaded on a couple of weeks ago. It was 2 episodes ago, and it was funny because his whole approach was I know where I want to be. He was just nope, I want to grow to this number, and I'm going to get the best equipment and the best thing to have it here. And I always want it to be just maybe me and my wife and one other person. That's my goal. And I was dude, that's so smart, because not a lot of people approach it that way. They just see the moon and they're oh, well, I need to have X amount of square footage. I need to have 14 presses. I want to grow to this enormous thing. And I'm dude, all of the people I interview on the show, or all the people I talk to behind closed doors, are I miss having 2 to 3 autos and 10 employees. I would love to be there again, because we had the most fun. We were grilling. We were just chilling. We were doing work. We were actually more profitable then than we are now. So I try to tell a lot of people that, but I feel like a dad telling a kid something. I promise you're going to be happy with 2 autos. And they're okay, Dad, sure. And then they go get 12 and they're fuck, what did I do? I don't know. That's, I like where I'm at.
There's people that are super happy at that. It's all, like I said, I think business has a formula, but there's so many different ways to do it. There's so many different ways to apply it.
Oh, for sure.
And you've been at PPAI the last few years, right?
Yeah.
Was it 2 years or just this year?
Couple years.
Being more involved in the promo industry with the Allmade side, it's just a whole new world of business, and especially in this industry. And it's crazy the size and number of units that are moved in that space by really just focusing on the sales and marketing side of things, and programs versus the process and delivery of it. And so, and some of them do their own production. Some of them have, outsourced production. There's so many different ways to do it that it really just depends. I love what you just said about that, Jaden's like, know where you want to be and get clear about that. Cause I think that provides a lot of clarity. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't have that just because they're like, I'm going to go to the moon and, do this thing. And so having that is really smart.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's just one of those things of like, we all want this, like we get this idea and we want to run with it and whatever, but there's more homework to be had. I think there's just like, think about the hard times. Again, like a lot of people make decisions on buying equipment or getting a new building or whatever when things are amazing. And I'm more like, dude, get that post-nut clarity of like, make those decisions in the wintertime, bro. Like make them when you're hungry, like you have no money. Like that's when you're like, I wanted to actually, like, I can actually do this. Like, don't do it. My staff does it from time to time too. Like we'll get real busy for like a week or two, like swamped. And they're like, oh my God, we got to hire more people. We got to buy more computers. We got to whatever. I'm like, we're in a bubble right now, bro. Like I promise you right before July 4th, it's going to dip down because it slows down for the holiday. And then as soon as it dips down, they're like, oh, I'm glad we didn't hire somebody because, it's whatever. And I'm like, yeah, like think about those things and like tough it out in those seasons and then recoup when you're slow and you have no money and be like, oh, okay, like this is the reality of what I need to do. It's like they say, don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry, like, because you're going to buy 3 times the amount of groceries because you're hungry.
Live within your means.
Yeah, exactly.
We say that in construction all the time of don't get any toys you can't afford to keep on unemployment. Because you'll be laid off. Like you'll be laid off as good as you can be. You'll be laid off a couple times a year sometimes just because of the market. And then you have to just wait. And it's don't, overspend on things that you're going to have to then sell because you're on unemployment or whatever, it's just,
yeah.
Dave last week's episode was talking about, selling and when the slow months come, you see the shops that have work and the ones that don't, the ones that, I thought that was really insightful of, just think about that as you're doing this and keep going, even though you have enough, like keep managing those relationships and upkeeping those, for those slow months.
It's about planting the seeds. And Ryan, I don't know, I had a note to talk about this and I was unsure if I wanted to talk about it or not, but fuck it, I don't care. I've talked about you behind closed doors probably more than anybody else when it comes to, like say, I won't mention the company, but say I go sit at some company and I'm talking about, how the industry works as far as approaching certain clientele or something. And I'll always be like, huge credit to Ryan because one of the things you're good at, whether you're trying to do it or not, is planting seeds. And I think it goes back to our talk earlier of like knowing from the basement shop owner to the, 10 automatic shop owner is the best way to get these sales and get good clients that'll be with you forever or to grow as a company is like playing the long game, like planting seeds, dude. Like so many of these companies, be it a t-shirt manufacturer or a equipment manufacturer or whatever, are like, oh, I want to just get the big jobs. I want to go to the shops that already have 14 autos and I want to sell to them. And I'm like, dude, this is where I bring Ryan Moor into the conversation. It's just like that dude's talking to the garage shop, the basement shop, the 2 manual shop, whatever, because he becomes friends with them. He hears their story. He helps them and they're going to be the next person to buy an auto. And then they might turn their shop into the next big shop that has, like you were talking about selling fucking wooden screens presses to Eric and Val. Like, see what they what they became. You know what I mean? And it's like, you've been so great at that. And some of these companies just get in their own way and they don't think about it or care. They're like, oh, I want to sell more to Adidas, or I want to sell more I'm going to go, I just want to get these companies that want to buy 10,000 shirts at a time or something. And it's like, dude, like, yeah, that's cool. It's cool to get those 10,000 shirt orders all the time. But it's like, why aren't we pitching to the people who get 100 shirts at a time that eventually will turn into those 100 shirts at a time? Or say equipment wise, I've had this conversation before too, where it's like, yeah, I just want to go to this large shop and talk to this guy. Well, the thing is, if you're a shop that probably has 10 autos, 14 autos, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be somebody that's in their 50s. Like, it took them a while to get to those 14 autos or whatever. Well, that dude wants to retire in 5 to 10 years in his 60s. He wants to do whatever. Well, his son comes in and takes over for dad. Well, his son's been following fucking Ryan Moor on the internet for 10 years and loves what he's doing, loves what the relationship with Rock and everything else. Well, he comes along and he switches all of their presses over to Rock presses because he likes what's going on with the Ryonet Rock team. And it's like, it's because he fucking planted seeds. It's because you played the long game. You talked to these people like real human beings when they were small. And then when they got big, they already trusted you and knew who you were because you were just a fucking stand-up dude. So I don't know how to get it through to these companies' heads more than that, of just like being honest, real person, boots on the ground, talking to anybody and everybody. It's like me and Dewey talked in one episode, and then what, fucking 2 days later, you were in his house in his basement.
The rock band showed up to my house with him and Canicorn. I tried. I was like, we could meet somewhere else, you know? He's like, nope, basements and garages where this starts. I was like, all right, bro. And I just printed yesterday on the press. He calibrated himself on his hands and knees in my dingy basement shop, just chatting it up, planting seeds. I've been planting.
Did the platen brackets work better? Are they at the same level now?
Yep. I got all good. Canicorn got me all aluminum platens, which are amazing. And
but what I'm trying to say, and I'll use you as an example, Dewey. I'm not trying to throw you under any buses. Or I would say kick you in the nuts, but I know you like it.
Post nut clarity.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to say, if you're watching this video, do me a huge solid. Hit the like button. Just the thumbs up right there. It helps out the show a ton. Subscribe. You get to see when all the new episodes and new clips and all that stuff come out. We're about to put out longer form clips of the show. So check it out. Maybe buy some show merch. Help us out. Support us a little bit. That'd be great. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of the episode. See you later. It is just like, Ryan's not making... He might make fucking $100 off of you if you buy something or whatever. It's not moving the needle much. At the stage you're at right now, whatever you buy, say a quart of ink, a gallon of ink, or whatever it is you're doing, isn't really moving the needle a ton. But yeah, you're a new customer, or you're a whatever, or you're just a friend that he met that you have an interesting story and now you're buddies and you're close or whatever. That's what I'm saying is like, it's not the big sale now, but Dewey, you are a very determined, smart human being. You have a lot of connections. You could really grow this light thriller business like huge if you really wanted to, if you were determined at it. And I think, again, not saying this was Ryan's intention at all, but like, you're 100% going to remember the time Ryan came to your basement and helped you, and Canicorn was there and helped you. And your next step in your evolution of your business of buying a small auto or whatever is immediately going to be a phone call to Ryan and be like, hey, what should I do?
Absolutely. That's and it wasn't something I was thinking about at the time. Of course, as a business minded individual would know that that's the wise thing to do, even if it's taking time with someone that's small. But it's different than that at the same time, because he genuinely enjoys what he does. So he's passionate talking about it. Let's go hang out with this guy's shop.
Talking about Ryan in front of Ryan right now.
Yeah, we are. This is the beauty of it.
It's a credit to all of our teams across the board. I think you asked about the sales rep question, and that's, I think, a lot of what makes our companies different and our teams different is that traditionally we don't come from those sides of the industry. It's a very different, very hands-on, very grassroots approach, very passionate about the process and what makes you successful every day, which is a little different, especially when you get to the big game. When you get to the big game, and it is true, it's like 95% of the ink that is sold or the t-shirts that are sold are purchased by like less than 5% of the businesses. And so it is a reality of like, that's from their perspective of the people that you're in those rooms with, that's the way they're looking at it, which is the reality. But
like
the reality saying, to that
too is
this whole thing changed.
It's not in unlimited supply is what I'm trying to say. Like what happens is they ride that.
It's not going to be that way forever.
They ride that wave for X amount of years of, we went after the big dogs or whatever it was. Well, eventually those big dogs age out or they sell their company or they're gone. And then there was no planning for anything else. There was no setting the seeds for anything over here. It was all, oh, well, we rode this out. Now this company sold or it's somebody else and they went to some other manufacturer or they went to whatever. It's like, it's the same with the sales thing like Dewey was talking about of like, you should still be reaching out to other customers in the summer when you're busy so that in the wintertime, you don't slow down as much because you were prepping for the winter. It's the same with the business of like you're prepping with the smaller shops. So that way, when they're prime and ready, you're already in the system and ready and they know who you are and whatever. I'm not trying to say, I want to backpedal a little bit. I'm not trying to say that is your game plan. That's your approach. Cause I think genuinely you're just that human anyway. Like you will generously help somebody. Obviously you're doing all these other things and you don't have to do them or you'll speak at a thing. Like you don't have to do that. It's just you as a human being and how you are anyway. But I'm saying it's the benefit of that is that you're constantly approaching people from all sides of it, not just the big players, because I feel like, again, that would suck. That's not fun. I wouldn't want to just be talking to giant corporations all day long. I would rather be talking to lowlives like me and Dewey who talk about liking
You're not lowlive
kicks. Oh, we know we're lowlives, bro. We know we love that. We live in that space.
Well, there's a reason there wasn't just one good NFL quarterback. Like there's a reason that, Tom Brady isn't going to play forever. Also not saying he's the best quarterback, but there's always someone else that's, coming up that will take that place, will fill those shoes. Back growing up in Alaska, we always talked about fill your freezer. Because in the wintertime, when things get desolate, you have somewhere to go and get some food and you're planning for that early in the year. Same thing we used to say with business was build your bench, was find someone and groom someone that can replace you when needed. But also it applies to your customers because if you build your bench, you always have something to pull from. Fill your freezer, same thing. When it gets desolate, reach in there and pull out that card of that customer that you had reached out to that maybe wasn't ready yet and hit them up. It's all is just like this circular thing. Just like with finding the little guy eventually is going to be the big guy. Like you're saying, Dylan, like that's the reason there's, not just one great quarterback that played and stopped and football's over. Like it keeps going because there's many, many people that are smaller that are going to be huge. And I think that's something you've done really well with Ryan is playing both sides of the field because the importance of that and the long game. Like Dylan was saying, you've played the long game and that's what is working out.
Also having slightly different teams and products that can serve the market as those customers and that journey happens. Mm-hmm. Like, the Rock team does interact with startups, but it's very, not a ton, a lot of it's people that are getting to the level of they're doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And now they need an automatic press. Whereas the Ryonet team basically lives in that startup manual helping shop land. And again, they do interact with some of the Nikes and the Adidas of the world as well, but it's more focused on the startup land. And so every time there is a disruption, like we would call you like three Drew from 320 are now Riptide. He's like, I wanted to be part of the Ryonet next generation. And that was like, we had like this slogan, like next generation, which was like back when we started selling Diamondbacks in 2008 or 2009. And we sold hundreds of Diamondbacks. And Drew was one of those guys that bought the Diamondbacks. And you were one of the guys that bought the Silver Press. That was like that was like our next generation campaign.
Yeah.
And look at you all now. Like you're the industry icons that people look up to. And then there's a whole new wave after COVID. I got a chance to go to Tidal Wave and I've seen what they've done and they just started a couple of years ago,
It's insane.
Awesome facility, like an amazing facility.
Yeah.
young guys and right down the street, 7:30, and like doing the same thing, totally different shop, but like young 20-year-olds started during COVID. It's crazy. It's awesome.
It's funny, like the benefit I have of like doing Shirt Show and talking to these shops of all sizes and whatever is like part of my, I guess, drive to want to keep growing or doing new things, whatever, is talking to these oblivious fucking shops that started after COVID. Because that's what me and Brett were in 2009, was just like oblivious to the fact that there was a fucking recession happening. We were like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm starting a screen printing business. And it was like, talking to them is hilarious because they're like, it's slow. Like, what are you talking about? Like, but they're in that like growth. Like every order is like, oh, we're growing. Like every order is a new thing. And to them, it's like, oh, this rules. Like, I'm stoked. Like, I'm going to buy another press. I'm going to grow. I'm going to do this. And I'm just like, they just don't know what it was like before COVID. You know what I mean? For us, it was the golden, like, oh, it was amazing for 15 years. And then that COVID happened. And then it was like the bubble boom of we're busy, the busiest we've ever been, like booked out like 5 weeks and shit. And then it was like the rug got pulled out from under us. And then it was slow for the last, 2 years or something. But again, like that's what makes me excited for the future of like, and I've been saying it on the show over the last couple episodes. Like, I just feel like really 2026 for me is just like I got that opportunity to take the knowledge I've gained for 40 years to go back and be a baby again with the same knowledge of like, I just kind of want to like look at my business in every aspect and just start over with that knowledge of like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it this way? I should try this a different way. So it's not like we're from the outside, we're not doing anything different as a company, and still everything's the same. It's just my mindset in each part of the company is like, how do we reset this back to zero and take all this knowledge I've gained and, leverage these opportunities and relationships I've made and like, let's do it in a different way. And it's really exciting. Like it's made me like really happy to do this again. Like I have my laptop on my lap at night when we're watching TV and I'm like plugging in new things or trying new ideas or whatever. And it's like, I'm excited to do it. Like it's a whole new thing. So, so we left off. I want to get your whole
reinventing.
Yeah, I want to get your whole story, Ryan. Again, like we've been jumping all over the place, which is awesome. You were trying to do the website thing, decided screen printing took off. That was what was profitable. You started making videos, and I think that's where, again, like a lot of your attributing factors to our industry for a lot of people like me was, where did you learn screen printing? And it's usually Cat Spit or Ryan Moor. So what were those initial thoughts and ideas on like posting videos on YouTube about screen printing? Was it to sell presses? Was it to grow your website? What was the initial thought process?
Well, I had done all that speaking for this internet marketing company. And so we grew our company on pay-per-click marketing and basically just looking at what's working, what advertising strategies, what keywords are working on the back end, what's converting to orders, and then just investing more in that. But we did videos to help people learn how to screen print because it's extremely hard to teach somebody how to screen print over the phone. And so it was, and our team is awesome. That's one thing I love about this industry is I'm not a screen printer by trade. I don't get to do it every day, but like we get to work with I get the chance to work with some amazing people. And so hiring those people at Ryonet now, like the team I have at MADE Lab, like just like the best printers out there. It's so cool to be a part of. And I learn so much from them all in different ways every day. But I had them do the videos. And like, I remember the first video I had somebody record, I was like, that's why you get good white ink. It's off content. I'm like learning as I'm watching him do the video. And I'm like, no way. We went to a local shop, designs of all kinds are still around today, to film because we didn't actually have a press or a washout sink or anything like that. But right as YouTube started, I started seeing these orders come in from YouTube. I'm like, what's YouTube? And I was like, wait a minute, how much did we pay for that? Like nothing. We didn't pay anything. Like we paid nothing for this and we got an order from it. And it's helping somebody. Like we don't have to send them a DVD anymore. This is the best thing that's ever invented. And so we just started to invest in videos. And my best friend, his name is also Ryan. He is an actor. And I took the money that I got from selling the company Shirt Space and I invested in a movie that was called Dark Horizon and completely bombed. And but Nick Hagan, the producer of that movie, was like, after the movie bombed, he's like, I really don't want to go work for Circuit City or like Best Buy. Can I have a job making videos? Like, yeah, sure, why not? And so it just started to hit. And so we've always invested in video and marketing since then. It's changed so much. I mean,
the funny thing, to your credit, which kind of worked out for you, is what you find out now is you were mentioning that like you would do a video, and in making the video, you found out how, like, why off contact was important. Like your approach to a video like that, or trying things in the video and being like, oh, wow, like literally being like, oh, wow, this is the result. Like you're seeing it as you're doing it, and you're learning as you're making a video, is so much more impactful than people who make these videos that are like, this is the word of the Lord. Like, if you don't do it my way, you're doing it wrong. Fuck you. If you like, don't do it this way. Like that is so shitty for people learning things, is not having someone humble do it. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing that I like about Lee, is like when Lee makes a video and I watch his stuff, is like, he'll be like, oh, I fucked this up. Like I tried this and the shirt ripped off, or this melted, or this happened. And then in the next video, I'll have it figured out because I'll do some research and I'll talk to this person. Like that's probably the best thing. He's like, he's definitely one of those people that's just like, oh, like I only do the best possible products, whatever. But like, he also will tell you like, I fucked up until I got there. Like he's humble enough to say like, yeah, I screwed this up, and yeah, I screwed this up, and this happened, and this is how I got to the point where I feel comfortable with like putting out the best possible product. And again, that's where I give him a lot of credit to that, of like showing people the mess ups, because then people who watch it are like, okay, it's okay for me to mess up. It's okay for me to learn. I'm not going to get this on the first try. Like, I'm not going to watch a Ryan Moor video and be like, oh, I flawlessly printed puff ink the first time. Like you can say like, oh, try this or test this. And that's something Josh Wells does nicely too, is he's like, oh, I tried 5 different ratios of putting puff in, and I found out, like, he didn't know until he got done of like, oh, test number 4 actually was the good one to go with. Like his approach going in was like, oh, it's going to be this one. This is the research told me it's going to be 9% or something. And then when he did it, he's like, oh, actually I had the best results with 12 or something. And I think that's the best approach to these videos. I think
that is I agree. And we need to do more of that. It's still a lot of cookie cutter stuff that like, it's really how the cookie's made that is the interesting part. When you mess it up and the cookie falls flat, or, you know, that's the fun part where you learn. And I love learning. I remember I went to the Brewers put a rock press in, the Milwaukee Brewers, and I walked in and it was the worst print I've ever seen. Like I was like, oh no. and like, you know, I was with Zach, and the guy's like young press op, and he's like, what do you think? Zach's like, yeah, it's really good. I was like, Zach, like we can't tell him this is good.
No,
like this,
yeah.
Let's learn how to do it better. Like let's walk through like how to break this thing down and just learn how to do it better. And so we did the whole thing. We did it 6 different ways. And at the end, we looked at the result, and it was just some small tweaks about like adding pre-stamping it was on fleece, pre-stamped the fleece, not using underbase. It was on a gray hoodie that didn't need a white underbase, and reducing the ink a little bit, speeding up the squeegees. And like the guy was like, I learned so much. And like, and we made a whole video from it. But that's the cool part for me, is like just being able to test. And then I think showing that more is, it's almost better to show all the failures before you get to the right result, because then it shows them what troubleshooting or what things they might run into. Again, like I'll say puff again, but like in doing a test in puff, like you don't want to be like, oh, you should try this ratio and run it through the dryer. And then when it comes out, it's perfect and beautiful. And it's like, oh, everything puffed. And then at the end of the video, you're like, oh, this is how you do it. And then this person watches it, and the very first thing comes down the dryer is whatever their settings or speed or humidity or something. All the puff is like fell in on itself in spots, and there's all these peaks and valleys, and it's all messed up. And they're like, I followed the video to a T. Like, why did I have a shitty result? And then they give up because they never got to figure it out. But if in that video, they would have had one come down the dryer that had the
puff collapsing and all these things. It could be like, all right, well, you know what I did is I tested the humidity and I made sure there was no this, or my belt speed was this, or I tested, maybe you could try this range of adding additive or something. And then by the end of the video, they're like, cool. Not only do I know how to do it now, I know that these things could happen, and this is how I tweak it to get a better result. So like you with the Bruins thing, you could have been like, all right, well, we found out in the end of this, like we didn't need an underbase, and you can also print this way, or, whatever. Giving that whole story lets people know it's okay to try all these other things. Or if it messes up, it's not the end of the world. You do something wrong. There's just a variable that needs tweaking.
That'd be a cool thing to do at the end of the video after the main video. So like the normal person that just wants to watch the act of how it's done can watch that. But at the end, it's like a post roll. I mean, because if I think back when I'm printing, like I learned how to do a proper left chest print from you, Ryan. Like I learned how to do hoodies from Josh. I learned how to do metallic inks and off contact from Colin. Like, even though I've not met Colin, that's how I learned to do it, is those videos. So all the process is there, but if that would eliminate, I think it would keep the image the same of like the very well done educational video intact, but at the end, show the mistakes. Like one of the best videos I've seen is Lee's video where he did the printing on the windbreakers and then did the scuff test, and he like tied it to the back of his motorcycle and like took it out in the street, and it was the funniest thing I've seen in screen printing. And he did it so well, but he did it towards the end of the video. But something like that, where it's like, let's really put this to the test and see what worked.
Yeah.
Doing it at the end. So that way someone can, they're eating their lunch and they just want to learn how to do this one thing, and they'll watch it and get their information and click out. But just like with podcasting, you put an ad at the post roll as well, because sometimes people just let it play to the next podcast and they end up listening to that ad, or you know what I mean? But it keeps it kind of separated to where the people that know, like the In-N-Out Burger secret menu, like people know at the end of the video, let's see what went wrong. And then, I've done that. Damn it. Okay. And then they'll watch it again. You may get twice the views when they go back and watch the second time after seeing the failure.
I love that. Absolutely
beneficial for sure.
We're working on doing a Stampinator setup video at Don't Lose Hope. I was down there with Josh and Rodney, and it did not go well. I felt like I sent Rodney like a whole thank you package. She was like, yeah, let's take like 2 hours. And like it took like 4, and like we did not get it done because I've not printed on Anatol press before. And it just like, it didn't, like we got like and we figured out what was happening at the end of it is like the Stampinator completely changed when Stahls started manufacturing. It got way better.
Yeah.
What do you know? And so it's way hotter. So it's getting the plants way too hot. I messed the print order up, like, because I was like, oh, we don't need to take your press all apart. Let's just spin it backwards and like, we'll stamp right after and not have a cool down station. And it did not work. And so it's like, and so the whole thing just was a disaster. We have all that footage. I was going to burn it, but
no, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's the hard thing with, I don't know, how do I put this nicely, but there's so many salespeople out there. There's so many, like distributors or whatever that don't know anything other than just like being a road dog and slinging product and whatever. And they come in and they're like, I'm like, how, like, I tried printing this ink. Like, why is this doing this? They're like, well, it says like the SDS sheet says that you should cure it, 275 or whatever it is. And it's like, dude, I fucking tried it. It's not working. Like, it doesn't work. And it's like, well, that's what the sheet says. And it's like, well, fuck you. Like, did you try this? Like, have you been on press? Like, have you done this yourself? No. But the best testimonial is like, Ryan, like you're just saying, you should post that whole fucking video of like, we tried this for 4 hours. This failed, but at the end of it, this was the success. Like, this was the thing, because what's going to happen is if you just post we bought this Stampinator and we put this on this Anatol and we did whatever, and this is what it looked like. For a fact, the next dude who buys that and puts it on an Anatol is going to have those 4 hours of headache, and they're going to be cursing your name to the heavens of like, Ryan, you sold me this fucking thing and it doesn't work. I bashed my head off the wall for 4 hours. Whereas if they saw you struggle for the same amount of time and then succeeded, you're going to save them those 4 hours, and they're not going to have all those battles because they've gone through all the things, watching you fail to know, okay, don't try those things. Do this next thing. So I think you post it. I think you supercut it together.
Well, we got to go back and make it work. Still, it's still it still didn't work. Like one of the other issues is he had palette gel on there that was way too old, and it was not holding.
Mm-hmm.
So we got him a new set of palette gel. So we got to go back, and it was I was actually filming this one. It was Josh and Rodney behind the camera. So I was trying to tell them what to do. And I was like, this is going to be easy. And they're just like, this isn't working, man. Like, I felt so bad for them. But I think their wives were not the happiest at 8:30 on a Thursday night when we finally wrapped up.
It's just part of it.
So we'll go back.
It is what it is.
It was your fault, not theirs.
Great points. And it really is. I think you learn. Yeah, you think you learn so much in that. That's 100% right. And so YouTube and video is really helped propel us to that next kind of phase. And then the M&R Diamondback, like that, bringing on the Diamondback and selling that. And I got to meet Rich and learn about just doing business when you're able to sell a product that now sells for $30,000 or whatever, $34,000 versus selling a Riley Hopkins that sells for 10, you can grow a lot faster. And so we grew a lot during that phase, and super, super grateful for that. And then during that next generation phase, when you got your silver press and we started manufacturing that's really when I fell in love with screen printing, because seeing shops like yourself, grow, and Brett, and just meeting people that were more like me from these bands that were now starting businesses, that I was like, this is a pretty freaking cool industry that you're not going to get somewhere else.
That's what's funny too, is the whole, I have no original story. I was in a band and I started a screen printing shop. Like, I've only ever I've had other shitty jobs, but like, I've done this for 20 years now, where I think that's the reason why a lot of band people became screen printers, because it's probably the closest thing you're going to get, or really close to it, of like the camaraderie of like, we're making art, we're also collaborating with other people, other artists, we're making this thing. And then you go do a trade show, or you go do some event or seminar or something, and it's like going to a show and hanging out with the bands behind the venue, like hanging out back, like throwing dice or fucking around or whatever. Like, it's the same vibe. You're printing shirts instead of playing music. And I don't know, I think it's easy for us to transition into
sometimes you do both. Sometimes you print shirts and play music.
Right.
Bands are just a t-shirt company anyways at this point. Like, that's it. I mean, a record label sells plastic and paper, and I mean, the music's in the ether, right? Like, it's in the air, but you're just a t-shirt company. And that's how you survive.
It's been cool it's been cool to see how many bands have started doing, their own shirts at much higher levels too.
Yeah. This is a total offshoot, but I had this thought the other day, and maybe it's happening already, but I was thinking, I think while I was driving the other day, and I was like, why do bands even bother with albums anymore? Like, why not just anytime you come out with a good song, post it and be done with it? Like, that's what it is. Like, why even, because you're not buying physical media, you're listening to it, or you're buying a single song or whatever on Apple iTunes or Spotify or whatever anyway. Like, why is it just because it's a collection of songs and that's what it means to you for these 10 songs? Or is it better to just be like, I made one good song, it's out. I made a next good song, it's out.
It has to do with publishing, and it has to do with, because there's certain things like where an extended play or an EP is a certain amount of songs, an album is a certain amount of songs, or a certain amount of minutes of content. But you have the old guard of bands that have been around forever that are used to making records and a full piece of music.
No, I get that, but I'm saying the new school people coming up that don't even have a label, they're just creating. You can create. Some of the best artists now are making shit on a laptop.
Yeah, that will overtake everything else soon, but it hasn't happened yet. That's why they're still making records, because they haven't quite taken over, but it will. I mean, there's no attention span left. It's like, give me this playlist with all these songs, and there we go. It's an album of other bands.
At some point, it's just going to be like, so many bands now too are like putting out a single, and it's like, I don't even know when their album's coming out. They just put out this one song, and I'm living on this for the next 2 months. and then
Or
they could put out another
8
song.
songs before the album comes out, and then they
Right.
basically have the album already on Spotify.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the weirdest thing.
I don't know.
I think that's pretty. I've seen like Blink did that with their last album
Mhm.
of like they kind of like staged it out and then they did a whole other second part of the album.
Mhm.
That is, I think it makes it more because you get sick of a song and sick of an album or sick of a song anyway. So like staging it out like that
Mhm.
makes 100% sense.
It's
Yeah.
almost like watching a TV show that comes out every week. It's like, all right, I know every month for the next year, I'm going to get a new song from Blink or
Yeah.
whatever. Like it'll trickle out instead of like, oh, new album out on the 10th. And then I pound through the whole album and then I'm burned out on the whole album in a month because I listened to it back to back.
Yeah.
I
That's a
spread that
great
shit out
point.
over a year.
It's become a season of a TV show. The albums are seasons now. Like it's
Yeah.
an undetermined amount of time where, yeah, I got 12 of these ahead of me eventually instead of
Yeah.
buying it on DVD and watching it all in one weekend.
So we'll try to cut this down a little bit. We don't need to go into all these other years of rock and whatever, but like at what point, Ryan, are you like, hey, I want to make a t-shirt? I know we touched on it a little bit, but like the whole Allmade thing, like why did that start for you?
Well, Ryonet had gotten rock was doing really well. Ryonet was doing really well. Like we were kind of crushing it on all aspects of that and always trying to make it more than just what you do and like tying it back to why we do it, you know, going back to your values, you know, understanding like the purpose behind things. I remember giving a speech at a Long Beach show for our team about like how like we get to be a part of all these decorators' journeys and you know that what we do, what we enable them to do is like hire people, create jobs, you know, live their dreams, send their kids to college, put food on the table, like all sorts of cool things. And yeah, t-shirts might not cure cancer, but guess what makes money to cure cancer? It's like pink t-shirts. And so we get to be a part of that. And at the end of that show, this guy walks up to me with this t-shirt and it was a really busy show. I remember like he's waiting like till the show shuts down at our booth. His name's Zach. And he was with this global orphan project nonprofit. And he's like, hey, can I tell you the story? Like we started these orphanages and we wanted to take care of kids, but we realized that a lot of these kids have parents and families that could take care of them. They just can't afford to. So they're giving them up because these orphanages get funded by well-meaning people from churches and all sorts of things, the commercials that you see on TV. And so we decided to try to create jobs. And one of the things we try to do is a t-shirt company. And we just know that you guys help so many people print shirts. Maybe you could help us sell more shirts. And one of the other things they did was that they also had a screen printing shop in Kansas City called GoX. And GoX, I think they had a workhorse press and they're like, yeah, so I was asking them and learning more about them. They came and visited us. I learned more about how they make t-shirts in Haiti in their factory. And they were expanding that job creation source in Kansas City. And so I kind of made a agreement or bet with them and said like, hey, if you guys decide to invest in rock instead of going with, you know, the competition, which there was 2 competitors in that, I'll go check out what you got going on in Haiti. And they're like, okay, I think I can sell that to the board. And they sold it to the board. So they bought their first rock press. They have three rock presses now. And I go to Haiti in August of 2016. And it completely changed my life because I decided when I do something, we go in on it. And so I decided to bring my family with me. So I brought my 2 oldest kids and my wife and Zach and Joe, who's the CEO, still the CEO of the Global Orphan Project, and just toured Haiti. Haiti wasn't doing great at the time. It wasn't doing horrible, but it was definitely very impoverished, I've never seen like meeting these kids that don't have anything, that are, you know, some of them are sick, some of them don't have, you know, are undernourished, and then going and seeing, you know, the future of what their lives could look like if they had jobs in this t-shirt factory. And some of the older kids were getting jobs in the factory and
seeing what the impact would actually do for them.
Yeah. It was just like, wow, like how could you be a part of this? And then it was like, well, how do you start a t-shirt company? That seems really hard. How many customers? Like what kind of, and then I was talking to Joe on the rooftop at their complex and just, he was telling this story about how like 12 print shops got together in England and abolished slavery. And Haiti is a country that has just been impacted by the slave trade, like probably worse than any other country in the world. And you see the effects of that even today. So like, just like, wait, 12 print shops abolished slavery. Like, I know 12 print shops. I know a lot more than that. So it's like, what if we just start with 12? And by the way, who's better to make a t-shirt than people that touch them all day long?
Right.
And so that was the first idea of like, go find 12 people to start this company, which didn't have a name. And the first pitch. So when we were talking about like, you know, try to sell something 10 times or 15 times. So I gave 15 pitches, 13 people said yes to go on the trip. One person dropped out at the very end. And then we go on this trip with these 12 founders that helped end up starting Allmade. And so that was it. And then that completely changed our company. And I didn't do it right from the company. I was like on such a mission. I was talking to Brandon about this, and I was thinking about this today. It's like I was on such a mission to make this thing happen because I knew there was a reason why. And so I only like listened to the people that loved the idea, and everyone else, there was like, you're going to shut the company out of business. Like, well, fuck you.
Right,
like we're going to go save the world. Like, get on board or not. And then there was these people that were in the middle part. So like there was literally people around it that were like, Jeffrey Paul. Like I didn't talk to Jeffrey for like 5 years because he was like, you're going to run the company out of business. I was like, no. He's like, I know this.
Get this fucking naysayer out of here.
And then we completely changed over our executive team, like completely within 2 years. And Jeffrey was like super right. Like we almost ran the company out of business, like so close. And I've reconnected with Jeffrey really a lot since. And it's funny because like Allmade almost went under, almost took Ryonet under. Like it was so close. And if we would have done it differently, it probably would have gone differently if I had got more buy-in from the team, the entire team, not just the people that were on board, you know?
Yeah.
Because it really kind of started as a separate company inside of Ryonet with these founders. And it was really, it was two separate. It wasn't involved. And back to the story, like at that point in time, everyone was one company. And so it should have been started differently. I made mistakes in that process. And just in the fact that the t-shirt, it's a totally different business, t-shirt manufacturing.
Well, what can you say to, and I don't want to pry into your business with that too much, but like, what would you say to somebody? Because I know a lot of print shops that I'm friends with, and I know some that are in the middle of doing it now or have done it, of like, oh, I'm going to make my own blanks or I'm going to make my own shirt or whatever. Like, as someone who's done it enough to know, like, don't fucking do that, or it's not worth it or whatever, or maybe it is worth it. Like, what would you say to is there a difference between starting a t-shirt brand or just making your own blanks? Like, kind of what's the deal there? Like, what do you know about it anyway?
There's a total difference between starting a t-shirt brand and making your own blanks. I think if you can control the blank, and our most successful Allmade founder this year so far is Rockford Art Deli. They basically made their own blank with Allmade. And so did Nothing Too Fancy, because they literally they sell stuff in their store. Like, right. So they get to choose what they print on, you know? So when you're in that part of the supply chain, either whether it's with the customer base, because I know people that do this, they make their own blanks for band merch, you know,
yeah,
and do very, very well with it because it's a very set number of styles. You know, you can control the inventory. If you over purchase, you know it's going to sell because it's a black shirt, you know,
right.
Whatever.
You'll eventually be able to get rid of it.
And then it's how the shirt is made too, and your terms of making that shirt is completely. Because with Allmade, just like everything, like we started from the ground. Like we were like, let's find the fiber, let's buy that, then we'll make it into yarn, and then we'll make that into fabric, and then we'll dye the fabric, and then we'll ship that fabric to Haiti, and then we'll make it into a t-shirt, and then we'll bring it into our warehouse, and then we'll sell it to a customer, and we'll give that customer terms so they can buy more of it. So that whole cycle takes about 18 to 20 months. So when you're growing a t-shirt brand that way, which is how the big guys do it, which how Gildan does it, Samar does it, you know, it's you have to have so much cash, because if you go from $1 million to $2 million on a 25% margin, you got to come up with $1.5 million to make that $2 million of shirts a year and a half before it's made. And so that's what really got us in a lot of trouble, is like just not having the depth of the cash reserves to be able to continue the growth.
Well, you basically have to front the inventory, right? Like you have to front the whole process and then try to sell a shirt.
It's not even inventory.
Just the raw goods.
It's just the raw goods. It's not inventory for 18 months. And then you got to put it on terms,
Right.
and you have to stock enough of it so you don't run out of smalls, and so it's crazy. So I think if you can work with the factory to make a finished shirt and give you a finished shirt, so at least you're starting with that, you're already ahead of the game by 12 months.
Right.
Then if you can control who buys it.
Yeah. I've just seen so many companies like make a blank or make a cool product or whatever, and then they go out and they know enough people or whatever, they get buzz going, and then it's like stock's gone instantly. And it's like, oh, cool. Well, we'll have stock again in 6 months. And it's like, well, I can't wait 6 months. Like, you came out with a cool new shirt and everybody wants to buy it and you're out of stock for 6 months. Like, this sucks. Like, I can't sell this shirt because it's never in stock. And then when it finally comes in stock in 6 months, it's gone instantly because everybody was waiting 6 months for it. And then it's gone. It's like, I feel like you just need a huge buy-in if you're going to do it. Like, you need to just push the chips in and get it all, or don't get it all at all. So.
Yeah. I remember Tim Gibson, because Tim Gibson he was working, I think, at Next Level or Bella Canvas at the time. He's like, Ryan, when we create a new t-shirt style at Next Level or Bella, I think it was Next Level, it's like, we invest $1 million. I was like, $1 million? Like, yeah, $1 million. It's $1 million per style. Like, it's like, that's crazy, And so, yeah, you have to be well funded and then to have that confidence. And so we are extremely fortunate. We went out in 2018, so 2 years into it, we decided like, we're not going to make this on our own. Like this, we almost ran the company out of business. We changed over our entire executive team, brought in a turnaround CFO. She's like, Ryan, you are running 3 different businesses here. Like, you guys run rock, sell capital equipment, big sales, not a lot of customers, pretty good margins. You run Ryonet, tons of customers, ink, great cash conversion cycles, no leasing, no funding, good business. You've been doing it for almost 20 years. And then you run Allmade, who's literally, like, I think at the time when we were losing $120,000 a month in Allmade. She's like, A, there are 3 different businesses, and B, you got to do something. Like, literally, you're going to run out of cash in two weeks. I was like, not really. And she's like, oh no, really, you're out. You have to sell all your real estate. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. And she's like, no, you have to. And so we fortunately had real estate equity and we sold it, recapitalized the company. But to grow, we were like, we still need a partner. And so we went out to market with Allmade, had really in-depth conversations with Alpha Broder and Samar. And I remember being at a Impressions 2019, and we did like a party at this house that was like, we had way too many people show up. We catered it with like Mexican food in the back. Like, it was a big house with a tennis court, and the cops got called. But like, before the cops got called, I asked all the decorators there, I was like, who would you rather do business with? Allmade, like Alpha Broder or Samar. SNS wouldn't talk to us. They just didn't pick up the phone. I think I don't know what they were doing. They were acquiring people at the time or whatnot. And it was 71 votes to 1 to go with like Samar. And so I was like, well, that's a pretty clear answer.
Yeah.
And fortunately they had a great Renton and Jeremy over there were very inventive of how to do that. And we put a great partnership together with them. And then on the Rock side, we did a very similar thing with Rock International to create Rock US partnership with the parent company. So we split the company into 3 right before COVID hit, like literally weeks before COVID hit. It became three different companies.
Was that good? Well, I mean, obviously that was good for you, but that was a big weight off your shoulders personally to kind of get those things separated enough where they were all going to be able to stand on their own two legs.
Well, it was very disruptive because you take a house that was built. I didn't think it was going to be it because as an entrepreneur and business owner, you're just like, who cares? It's like, it's just, you're just moving things around, but like basically split this family apart.
Yeah.
That had been a family for 16 years. And whenever you move houses, it doesn't always, like the family splits up. Like, so one person gets the new house, one person stays in the old house, some other person like goes to college,
Right.
So it didn't necessarily, the chips fell how they fell. And so it was rough.
Yeah.
It was fortunate for the company. Because they are different businesses, and Rock wanted to come also to the US and have its own presence and have other distributors because Ryonet only serves a certain market set. And so we knew that. It was like, we could either control our destiny or we could let destiny control us. And so we decided to control the destiny and make the partnership, which has, been really good and accomplished those things. But it was disruptive, and it still is, there's still stuff from it,
Yeah. I think anything since the COVID time is still kind of getting pieces put back together for everybody, whether they can necessarily see it or not. I feel like we're all still rallying since then. When or why does MADE happen?
So MADE was an idea. Brett was our first founder of Allmade. At the MBM show, and because we were doing classes. Well, first of all, Nick was like, Brett wants to teach classes for you. I'm like, Brett has like all M&R presses and buys like one product, like the green stuff, like the green, like dehazer stuff from us. That's all he buys. Like, how is he going to teach a Ryonet class if he doesn't use anything from Ryonet? And Nick's like, well, he's open to it. He's open to it. And I'd known Brett for a long time because he almost bought his first Diamondback from us, and we had just been in touch ever since because we had the band history together and stuff, but not that well. And so he's like, well, he's on an RV trip, and he wants to stop by and come to a class. And so we stopped by. I was flying back from Europe or some international trip. So I met him the last day for a beer or two, and he was like, oh, he was really passionate about education. And like, this is cool. And then he's on this RV trip, and I'm like, he's coming through the next summer. And he's coming to the Northwest. Dewey, the Northwest camping spots in the summer. It's like impossible.
Yeah.
Because everyone, I'm like, do you have a reservation? Yeah. And he's like, no, we just typically show up. I'm like, okay, good luck with that. By the way, like, I think my house has an RV hookup in the back if you can't find a place. And he could not find a place. So he ended up staying the summer at our house, and we got to be pretty good friends. And
that's a good way to become friends real fast.
Yeah. Especially when your wives don't know, like, you're like, we're just showing up, here we go.
Yeah.
And then we have instant neighbor. But it was an awesome summer. We still look back very fondly from that. And it's crazy. Our kids are so old now, and my kids are playing. It's crazy. Like, they were tiny, and now it's
right.
It's 10 years ago. But that was the same summer Allmade started, the same, and so he was teaching classes, doing Allmade. And then him and Tom had told me about this idea of like starting this lab where you could do testing, and they were involved in the ink kitchen at the time. So thinking it might be doing something with the ink kitchen, like a testing lab and a training lab. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting and cool. And then Tom had always been a really big advocate for MHM, and we had always tried to get his business until he sold his shop and never were successful doing it. But he's been great. Like, I got to know him pretty well and respected him a ton. Like, I don't really know anyone in this industry who knows like what a whole product t-shirt really means, like really taking a great design, executing on a great blank in a great print method, and doing it just at the highest level. And he's done it for the Apples and the Teslas and the biggest companies in the world. And so I really respected him, and they came to us saying, hey, we're talking to Rock and MHM about like, starting this lab. Would either of you would you guys be open in doing something, putting equipment in and helping us get going in Texas? And the Rock, we talked about it as a board, and we're like, yeah, like we would love to do that. Like, I didn't think he would choose Rock either. I thought he would choose MHM because he's just such a big like component. And so they decided to do that. And then after that, like maybe a week or two after that, they both call me up and they're like, hey, would you be interested in like becoming a part of this? And I'm like, what does that look like? And at the time it was COVID. So Ryonet had shut all of our education down. Like we were very COVID, like risk adverse here in the Northwest. And so no education. We were still doing videos and stuff, but Texas was like the Wild West. Like this is like
COVID's not even here. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. So it was just me and my CFO. We went down there and we like kind of structured out business plan, went through a naming, exercise, decided to MADE Lab and get involved with it. So that's really how I got involved. And then Brian Lassard, our other partner, was going to run the testing side of things. And Samar, again, was a great partner in helping that lab get started. Rock's been a great partner of the lab, and benefited a lot from the lab as well. So it's a really cool place. And it's a place, it's the only place I get to play in. It's the first time in the industry where I got a chance to play a little bit more on the Switzerland neutral ground of things, and because a lot of people like wouldn't talk to it. Like I went to a Cornette event once, their like fashion show, and we sponsored it through Samar and Allmade. And then they sent me an email. They're like, we cordially uninvite you to come to this event. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like we're sponsoring the event? They're like, no, you're Rock. Like you can't come to the event. I'm like, oh, but we're sponsoring it. And then they ended up letting us come to the event. It was a blast. Really, really cool event. But it's been a really cool experience on the MADE Lab side to be able to do these events and get to network with so many people, regardless of the equipment you use or the ink that you use or type of decoration that you use. And then my partners are the best printers that I know. And I've learned so much from them in that aspect too.
I fully understand what you mean about like the trying to be Switzerland thing. And I try really hard to do that with the show where like I'm not. And sometimes I think about it too with like sponsors and stuff. I'm like, should I talk to this person? Should I whatever? But I'm like, you know what? I have to do it because I have to get the story from both sides, or it's somebody that's in the industry that some people scoff at. And I'm like, I want to get their story too, because maybe that will let people know their whole story or know about them, or maybe get rid of the stigma or something. And it's kind of like, I'm trying to do that. And it is very hard. Like with certain things, I get what you're saying, but it's also hard too of like you're saying, we did a shirt show summer camp at M&R once because they were like, yeah, we have the space, we have the showroom, we have like all this thing. And we were like, awesome, cool. We got everything kind of here. And this is the last time we did it at a shop and it was cool, but it was like, let's do this bigger facility, whatever. And we did it. And the funny thing is we sold tickets instantly. Like they sold out that day and it was great. But then we got a lot of feedback, like around then or after the event, where it was like, so many people felt like they couldn't go because they didn't have M&R presses. And I'm like, the class had nothing to do with M&R. Like it was about white ink. Like you could have came and learned all of these things and took it back on an Anatol or a Rock or whatever other press you had, MHM. And that was kind of the first really eye-opening thing to me of people just being like, I just didn't feel like, almost like I felt like I would get shanked in the back alley if I was there because I didn't have a blue machine. And it's like, guys, come on. Like, I just want more of that in this industry. Like I want more, like we're all in this together. Like, and even with my shop, a lot of people 100%. See that I have blue machines, but it's like, dude, I'm totally open to like having anything in here as long as it benefits the prints or benefits my shop or in some way. Like I just want to make cool shit. I don't care what color the fucking thing is. Like I bought what I bought because it made sense and I liked the people and it was what I came up with and whatever. But like, I'm open to working and talking to anybody. So I like that you guys are, trying to do that too. It's just like, and I've been to MADE Lab. I know you have rocks in there and it's the equipment or whatever, but like you also have like 4 different exposure units from different companies. And there's multiple pieces of equipment that do the same thing just so you can test and try different methods. So it's good on you for doing those things. Yeah.
It's an interesting venture that's been a lot of fun. And the events, like I was thinking about the ThreadX event that you got a chance to go to and the post-COVID businesses and that how Liquid Death is like a post-COVID company. And it's crazy. Like it was just like those types of events and it's been a really, really, I've got to meet some of the coolest people in and around the industry.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
Yeah. So with MADE Lab, and I've always been a little bit confused on this too, of like, is the goal to have MADE Lab be a education center or resource for printers to come to and learn things? Or is it a business in a sense for you're doing lab testing on products for different manufacturers, or say apparel companies like Abella or whatever comes in and says, test all of our products, tell us which ones discharge, which ones don't, like do some crocking, like all of these other things? Or is it just a mixture of all of those things and it's just a test lab for our industry in general?
The mission is to elevate the industry, and we can do that through those different ways of first understanding the garments that we're printing on. And it's not just about the process or the decoration. It's about the branded apparel space or everything that touches a printed garment, And so really where you look at the failure points, some of those failure points happen during the manufacturing process. Some of the failure points happen during the design or sales process where you have a promo company or promo sales rep or a broker that doesn't understand the process and selling or speccing a garment that isn't meant to do this, or isn't sold the right way, or puts a crappy design on something. Or you have the failure points in the decoration, which we know very well of the puff ink that doesn't blow up the right way in the dryer, and then you ruin a bunch of shirts. So how do you get rid of those failure points and then enable the supply chain to create a beautiful product every time that can sell for the highest value? And if we can build those components and help them connect together
right
easier, then we as an industry, you all as a print shop, everyone wins. Like it's no longer are we competing for the lowest price. We are now competing with a higher value in the market,
Right.
And everyone wins. So, but the quality has to get better. The consistency has to get better across the board. And so that's really the purpose of MADE Lab, is like, whether it's a testing project or a conference or a class or a consultation or a training that Kyle goes into and helps somebody in their shop solve a problem, or it's just a phone call. Like that's where we're there to help and educate for.
I do want to talk a little bit about the like seminars and the camps and all this other stuff that you guys are doing. Do you want to touch on what ones are working out well, what you're planning on doing in the future, anything like that?
Yeah. So we haven't announced this yet, but we are bringing more education to people where education is happening. And so we're working on announcing a collaboration with Impressions, because you look at trade shows and everyone comes to a trade show and then they walk across the trade show booth and there's education at a trade show, but a lot of that education is not hands-on, first of all. And secondly, it's also not necessarily organized in the same aspect. So we're working with creating more of a conference series where we could take like a place like a Print Hustlers. We could bring it before or after a trade show. We could take something like a WB camp or an FX camp or a Learn How to Screen Print 101 class that Ryonet teaches, or an embroidery class that Hirsch would teach, or another expert like Graphic Source, might teach on digitizing. And we can bring them all into one place next to the show floor. So somebody could come in, like look at your shop, Dylan, you could bring your print shop and they can learn water-based printing, and you could go to Print Hustler, a conference like Print Hustlers, or Dewey, you could come in and you could learn sales from Kevin at Sales Inc. or marketing from somebody, and then also learn advanced skills on automation, which you haven't experienced hands-on yet. So, but then you can also then go to a trade show and come to a conference afterwards if you want to, spend an extra day. So that's going to be that's really what we're working hard on this year. And next year is kind of reformatting, because as the economy, like when in 2022 and 2023, like A, there wasn't a ton of events going on, and B, everyone just had tons of money. So it was like, oh, fly here, fly there. And then it was like literally MADE Lab, both those years produced events that touched 2,200 people, which was insane. And then as those budgets have tightened up, like, we'll either go to impressions or we'll go to Print Hustlers.
People are
not
getting
going
a
to
lot more picky and choosy with travel now, especially with budgets and whatever. So I was going to say it makes total sense, and it's a win-win if I know, I definitely want to go to like a Print Hustlers type event, but I can kill two birds with one stone and do one travel, one hotel, one trip, and do that plus a learning experience, a hands-on experience. That's huge. I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer that you guys are doing that.
I'm excited that their Impressions is I think Impressions put on in general the best trade show.
Yeah.
The Impressions Long Beach show is by far, for apparel, like Printing United is great in what they do for the print side, but it's printing, and then PPI is great in what they do for the promo side, but it's promo. So t-shirts are a part of those, but it's not solely focused.
Right.
But all Impressions really is it's the trade show. So let's bring in more of the conference and the hands-on education to that trade show.
Right.
And then really add value to the people that are attending, so they don't have to buy 2 tickets. And instead of getting a hotel, they can get an Airbnb and bring their team,
Yeah, that's smart. So what else, before we get into some of these personal questions, what else is going on with you, Ryan, as far as you as a human being, not your businesses, not whatever? Is there something you're excited about doing next? Is there any new project you're trying to work on? What's up with you?
Well, we are I think it's been an interesting few years. Like, so every time I hear you talk about that, I'm like, yep, I 100% hear what you're saying, and so, but to your point, there are our initial conversation of getting punched in the face or punched in the nuts. I think it's great, like, cause it doesn't kill you. It makes you stronger. You learn how to get through it. You learn from that struggle. You guys have heard that quote of like tough times make strong men make good times make weak men, make bad times, and so like it's a cycle. And so it's really just like embracing that and then innovating through it. So, but our industry is going through a lot of change, and it's going to be so interesting and exciting to see what happens in the next 5 years with AI, with print on demand, and with robotics, and like different technologies like DTF. So where does screen printing land? Where does the traditional screen printing shop land? All of that, it's gonna change so much. So let's be on the forefront of that ship with what happens.
I don't know how much I want to talk about it yet, because it's still new and fresh to me. But like, even just this week in general, I've had multiple meetings with people about certain things in automation and business and all this stuff. And it's like literally like blew the top of my skull off of like, this is going to save my shop alone. Like, this is going to save me X amount of time. This is going to whatever. And it's not just like some snake oil of a promise of an AI thing. It's like real things that are already like, it's a tool. Like, you can use this right now and it's proven and people are using it and whatever. And I'm just like, I'm excited and reinventing myself right now with what I want to do and how I want to do it at the shop. And just discovering these tools and putting myself out there to learn some of these things is like, I'm just so stoked to see the evolution of how things are going to be. And I'm kind of burnt out and over the conversation of like, screen printing is going away and digital's this and that. It's like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I think they all have a place. They're all going to be there. Nobody's going anywhere. It's just more tools that you have at your disposal. But I think the real growth and real showing if you're going to make it in this world anymore is if you're open to learning new things. I feel like that was the saying for forever of like, oh, you're an old dog and you stay in your bubble and you don't whatever. Like you could probably still last under the radar. I feel like anymore, if you're not learning new things or dabbling at least a little bit in new school thinking, it's toast. Like you have to learn some of these things or it's just, you're going to be blown away. So I don't know. That's just my take right now, probably because I'm in the middle of it, but just some of these things I'm seeing, it's like, if you're still doing it old school and writing everything down on a piece of paper, like there's going to be companies that can be way better at customer service and way better, have more time spent with you because they have these tools than you will ever be able to do. So I don't know. I'm excited for the future in that aspect.
Front row seat is going to be fun, and it's going to be. One thing I know is that there's going to be T-shirts, and those T-shirts are going to be decorated. I don't think that is going anywhere. You know, the online avatars in taking over, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're gonna wear apparel, and we just get that. The way that's facilitated and done will change, and I think screen printing will continue to be a part of it in a big way. It's not going to be the only way, but I love seeing that, being on the ground of that, getting to travel, you know, internationally. We're headed to Honduras again the next couple weeks, doing a really cool fundraiser with Allmade to take care of some of the orphanages down there. And then going to Portugal next week, seeing what's going on at the Rock Factory. So I love travel. I love seeing the world and learning, you know, at the source, wherever that source may be.
Yeah, I was talking to your Allmade team when I was at ThreadX. And again, props to having me out for that. I think that it was an amazing event. And again, right now with the way I was thinking and where my mindset was at, like just sitting and chilling, especially after me and Christina just got back from that cruise, it was like the polar opposite of like things you do, from like hot weather to I had like a sunburn on my nose to now I'm in the mountains and sitting and chilling and talking to people. Like it was exactly what I needed at that time, to just kind of talk to people and like have real talks about certain things. And it's just such a great event. And I recommend anybody that's a printer and serious about wanting to grow your stuff, like go to these seminars, be it like Print Hustler stuff or the stuff that you're going to be doing at ISS or ThreadX or whatever. It's just, you need to do these things sometimes to kind of, what's the opposite of kick yourself in the nuts? Give yourself a back rub. Like, I don't know. Like we need that every so often, to let us know that we're doing the right thing and pat ourselves on the back. Dewey, do you have anything you want to share right now? I don't want to leave you out of this conversation of where you're at right now. I'm stoked for you today to be able to be walking around and pedaling, you know, yourself.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
No, the sky's the limit. And there's so much support from you guys both, so many people in this industry that I can just reach out to with a question and not feel like an asshole, and get a genuine response, whether it's good or bad, or, you know, hey, don't do that, or hey, you know, try it this way. I feel with that amount of support, it's just up to me to actually do the work and make it happen. That's why I'm getting out there and just hitting the street and getting the word out there. Because if I wait for the word of mouth to come to me, it just doesn't happen from, you know, other jobs. That's cool and all, but it's just, you got to make it work. And that's what I'm doing. So I've really enjoyed this. And being a part of the show too on these few episodes is awesome. It's like next level kind of stuff, which is great. And I just love you as a human. I'm glad you're here.
I
appreciate that. I love you too. And
you're just a giant cuddly teddy bear, and I just want to be with you as much as possible.
I just want to be as close as possible.
Oh, so sweet.
I do really quickly though, not to hijack this thing, Dylan, but Ryan, I wanted to briefly touch on the Rudy Press, because it's been from what I've seen, the pre-sale is doing very well, and people are talking about it like crazy. I have not driven up there yet. I may later this week and check it out. But from all the videos, I remember watching the video on the Discord for a shirt show and from Mexico, and
Yeah.
People were freaking out that it was like $1,200, and the guy's like, that's pesos, like losing their minds. And then I see the Rudy Press videos with Brandon, and people are talking about like crazy. Is like a quick blurb about that maybe would be great, because like I said, I haven't physically checked it out myself yet, but I'm 15 minutes away. So
Brandon sent me a text with the video, and I was like, dude, this rules. Like I see things like, I don't know, printers make every so often. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is actually going to change like people's way of working. Like manual shops won't be as tired, and they might get a more consistent print. And I think it's great. I'm excited to see it, or I want to try one. I want to see one at a show and just like play around with it.
It is super easy to use. It gives the automatic like consistency of screen printing on auto into the manuals, a manual printer's hands. And I think one invented it. I still have not met him or talked to him. I'm really looking forward to it. But this is all stories from the Ryonet team who got to meet him in Long Beach. And Ryonet is a manufacturing beast. Like we take raw metal and we can turn it into essentially anything that you can turn metal into. And so we look for products and partners to do that with. And when that opportunity came up, is like, that's a no brainer. And it's going to really help a lot of manual printers, a lot of manual presses that aren't being used. The consistency and quality of screen printing, everything that MADE tries to teach from those who get a chance to work on an automatic press into the manual stand. Consistent angle, consistent pressure, the ability to use different durometers without killing yourself. Like, it's pretty awesome. It's really awesome. And it's super simple to use. I didn't figure out how to use it. No one taught me how to use it. I was like, oh, it's this button here. And
Yeah, so for the people,
right on the screen.
People, I was going to say, for the people listening that have no idea what we're talking about, it's basically a bolt-on frame that goes over the top of the screen that has a squeegee and a flood bar in it that resemble an automatic press. And there's a handle that goes across the top. And when you bring it forward, it's flooding the screen. And when you're pushing it back, it's angling the squeegee blade and printing just like an automatic would.
Yeah. And it's got, and forgive me if I'm wrong here, Ryan, but the max, the squeegee size is 12 inches because of the way it's set up, right? And then also,
you're gonna fucking print that pallet right now.
It's $350 on the pre-sale, $350 on the pre-sale, and then it goes up to $400 after the pre-sale, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure on pricing, honestly, but
okay.
I think you're right. Yeah.
It's badass though.
But I think being from the MADE, perspective of like, what's the immediate things that can be done, like from that perspective of like, it's cool that it comes with wing flood bars out of the gate, it's center similar to a rock, center pivoting.
It's like a floating squeegee
and then
for pressure.
It's a floating squeegee. Yep. And then as long as you're centered here, it's going to center out. You have adjustments for pressure and angle and stuff. Triple durometer and bigger sizes. And then using with side clamps and stuff will be next. But it works real. It's like just flood print.
You want to print it so bad right now, but you're going to print that pallet.
Print it and sign it. And yeah, you got to have good screens. You can't have crappy screens because it's flooding in the down position for the most part, and especially when you're doing multiple print strokes. So if you have the wrong mesh or low tension, it's not going to work.
Hey, Ryan, I know you want to peddle your own company, 100%. But I'm just going to tell you, if you're not buying Frank's GSF screens, then it's not going to work.
Frank makes great screens.
It's the best. He's the best dude.
We have great screens here that Chris, our drummer at Nortec, makes too.
I'm deleting that out.
Then you got
I'm cutting it out. I'm only talking good about Frank because he's my man.
We use Frank's screens a lot, mostly at MADE Lab. We do use a little bit of the other screens too, but yeah, Sherlock makes great screens. Newman's still make great
cutting
screens.
It out.
So yeah, great.
You say whatever you want to say. I'm cutting it out.
You gotta be Switzerland, Dylan.
I am Switzerland, but Frank is near and dear to my heart, and I love that man so much. So I got
Rudy Press is badass.
Push for Frank.
That's the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, you're gonna print with it, aren't you?
And that living ink, the vintage black, is amazing.
I'm gonna try.
I tried that out last month.
let's see if I can print from my chair. I'll load this Allmade shirt right here. That's kind of right. Yeah. And then just drop it. Flood up.
This is a testament to how good the Rudy Press is you're printing from the side, sitting down.
There we go. Yeah. Needs 2 strokes for sure. I needed more pressure on that. That did not work well. That was a video blooper.
Nope.
All right. That's better. Yeah, there we go. Bam.
Done.
It is really, you do have to put pressure down. Like you can't, it's not like hitting a button.
No, but it
makes it so much more consistent.
Getting rid of the inconsistency of, you have to hold the squeegee blade a certain way. You have to do whatever. You're flooding and everything. It's like, this is all within one stroke, just like an auto. It's cutting down some time. It's saving your back or your wrists a little bit more.
There it is.
Yeah. It's going to save you. Yeah, those 500 shirt manual jobs are going to feel like a 250 shirt job. And then also your consistency on your underbase or the thicker white ink, like it's going to make it easier for manual guys to do that.
Oh, on fleece, like Allmade's doing a live print for Domino's that's coming up. And we have to print like, it's something stupid, like 5,000 shirts on a Riley Hopkins 150, 250.
Oh my God.
Over the course of a couple days. And so we're going to use Rudy presses for sure. And we got the designs today. I'm like, it's cream, like a Pantone cream so it's all print flash print. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to print
Why would you do that to yourself?
I don't know. I'm like, no, what are you doing?
Heather Gray with royal blue ink, dude, all day long.
That's okay. Zach is he's gonna be our go-to, like can of corn all day. But no, but the Rudy Press, it's designed. They chose it, that, and then we're gonna create like our own manual stampinator where we're gonna take one of those like Cricut like heat presses.
Yeah.
And so we can get, because we typically print with water base when we're doing Allmade stuff, because just the hand feel water base on a good garment is unbeatable. But 5 days, 5,000 shirts. Oh, no thanks. And so we're going to like manually stamp it with one of those Cricut presses, and then that'll flash it off, and then we'll do an overprint on it. I got to test and make sure this works, but that's the theory. Man,
untapped resources, the mid ground between manual and auto shops in that transition period. This Rudy Press is going to really help with that. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty sweet. All right. I want to ask this question, especially with you, Ryan, with all the talk we've had of ups and downs and learning and kicks in the nuts, whether it feels good or doesn't. Lessons learned so far, advice for your younger self.
Well, don't take the good times for granted. I was talking to Brandon about that today, of like, because there's going to be businesses an infinite game. And we've been talking about this of like before, like, so when you go through a couple hard times, you might take the first hard time for granted, and then there's going to be a good time, and then you go to the next one or the next one. Then, because we've gone through 3 really hard times here at, through the course of the last 22 years, 3 cycles, business cycles. And that, so each time gotten smarter, and like, so get, learn, but don't take the good times for granted. I think being transparent, kind of the lesson I talked about with the team, and really doing a different job of making a decision from a team aspect, and like getting more people's buy-in. But sometimes you do have to make a decision. So, but really, I definitely bulldozed the Allmade thing way too much, and a few other things that have not turned out well. So typically those don't turn out the greatest when you don't have buy-in from the ground level. And yeah, I think focus, like from the made perspective, focusing on the quality of the product and the end result through the process is a really, really big thing that I've learned, getting a chance to work with Tom, Brett, and Brian, and Kyle.
Nice. Yeah, you can't leave Kyle out of there. What animal would you become if you could transform Animorph style?
I'd be a dog.
What dog?
Just a happy dog.
Like a golden retriever?
Happy
You
dog.
seem like a golden retriever kind of
I don't know.
dog.
Yeah, probably like a golden retriever.
Jack Russell.
Maybe a little punky, like not like, maybe get a little bit of a, maybe like a Rottweiler or maybe German Shepherd. I love Lee's dog. Lee's dog is the shit. Like that dog, he's got it. He's done such a good job. I'm like, if you ever become a dad to humans, you're going to be a great dad, dude. Like
dad to humans, you're all right. You're good. I had a question in here, like perfect, like ideal, like snack food or candy or whatever, but I do want to ask you this because I look into these things from now and again. What is some, like, I know you're a health conscious person. What are some things that you think people should be either maybe supplement taking or exercise wise that somebody should, like most humans should probably take or deal with or do for yourself? Don't say ice baths. Give me something other than that.
It's in my backyard right now.
Ice baths are a hard sell, man. They're a hard sell. Your wife still doing it, Dewey?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Are you doing it?
I've been doing it here and there. Not like she is. She's doing almost every day. Yeah. But yeah,
there you
go. Like it changes your day.
So the routine of walking or running or getting outside and doing something every day is super, I think, important in life. It's grounding.
I agree with the walking thing. That changed my life for real.
It's crazy. I mean, it's great for your heart. It's great for your cardio. And my dad's a cardio, medical professional for his whole 50 years. And he's like, it's literally the best thing that you can do. Like, you can eat like shit. If you exercise, like you're still going to be healthy. And so I do it because it's a hack, and like it allows you to go harder, do more things, have more fun, and it really just clears my brain. I had to go for a run before this episode because, like I said, I didn't get a chance to do that this morning. I was like, I was going to, yeah. And so just going out there and clearing the air. And then, I don't know, I've been doing peptides lately. My knees I play basketball. I'm trying to keep up with my kid because he's playing more and more basketball and he's kicking my butt. But I gotten hurt a few times, and it's like experimenting with peptides to like heal injuries. It's been pretty cool.
Is that the collagen stuff?
Yeah, I was going to say it. But the thing I found out with collagen is there's many different types, and you can't just take collagen. You have to take there's like 5 or 6 types or something, and you want a specific one.
There's so many different types. Yeah. Well, there's this thing, like my knee got really screwed up in a basketball game 2 years ago, and I've really not done well with it. Like, I've done like a Navy SEAL thing and 2 marathons on it since. And so it just keeps going out. And I shoot these thing called this Wolverine blend of these 2 peptides, and you just give yourself a shot in the skin. I mean, you pinch your skin so you're not putting it in the muscle. And then you give yourself a shot, and it's like an insulin shot, and it's like 80% better in one set of treatments. So I don't know.
Wow, that's wild.
I'm not going to like, but it's, yeah, I don't know.
I'm not saying to necessarily trust Ryan's advice on what to take for supplement wise or whatever, but like I've been experimenting myself over the last 2 years with like different vitamins to take or different things. And I don't like taking medications. Like I just started taking a medication for cholesterol for the first time in my entire life, like recently. But before that, I went to the doctor, and they were like, oh, your cholesterol is kind of on the rise with all your different blood tests you've done. Like, we should just put you on something. I was like, is there anything I can take that's not like some over-the-counter drug with all these side effects? Is there any natural thing? So then they had me try these other supplements, and they worked. It's just they were like the weaker version of whatever the real medication was, and it kind of version. It's not necessarily they weren't gas station boner pills. They were fucking like legit things to take, but it kind of just like leveled off. It didn't grow, but it didn't go down as far as the number for like the cholesterol stuff. So I finally gave in, and I was like, I'm going to take this. But otherwise, I've been trying other things too. Like Christina got me like taking like magnesium, and I take magnesium every night. I take like a flaxseed oil because I can't do fish oil because I'm allergic to seafood. And just different things like that. I didn't know if you have something you swear by that's like, some people are like, oh, I take creatine, like no matter what, it's good for the brain, like this and that. I don't know if there's anything that you take that you think is just like, you should be taking this.
I think I do emergency, vitamin C emergency with zinc, like multiple times a day. One first thing in the morning, like, and then I do like magnesium at night along with these like they're called Adams pills. They have like tons of vitamin V and B and stuff like in them. They help you sleep and like they turn your pee like gold, like nuclear. Like you're like, this
that's how my
be.
piss is with the flaxseed oil. It's like first piss is like, dude, this is like straight honey.
Yeah. And so, but you're like, this has to be good for you then.
Yeah.
And so and then my wife does every morning she makes like lemon juice, cayenne pepper, water, and olive oil. And she makes like a 2-ounce shot and she blends it up. And when I'm on her good side, she makes me one too. And sometimes I make my own. But that's pretty sweet. Like, it clears your gut out and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think very important for the health side, because what we do every day is hard. It's physical as print. If you're on press, it's very physical. If you're running the business side, it's very mental. If you're dealing with sales and teams, very mental. So being able to keep your health up, being able to clear your head, and it's super important.
Well, I think the reason why I bring this up too is like, I've had this thing in the back of my head for probably over a year now that I kind of want to have dietitian or physical therapist or something on the show. But the hard part is I need somebody that knows enough about our like repetitive motions as screen printers. Like, say there's these people out here all the time that are manually printing or they're on the auto or whatever. It's like, is there stretches we should be doing to be doing these repetitive motions? Are there shoes we should be wearing? Are there mats we should be using? Is there benefits to a press being a certain height because of our bending of our back? Like, I would like to find somebody who would research these things and have on the show to be like, hey, if you do it in this motion, if you keep your back straight, if you do this or that or the other thing, it's going to prolong our lives as printers or make our lives better after we're done printing, because now we don't have a hunchback and our wrists are blown out or we have plantar fasciitis or something. Like, I kind of want to get somebody that would know that. But the hard thing is that I don't know if anybody specifically would have tips for that.
I'd reach out to the guy you had on from OSHA that works with the screen printing, that would know, like a chiropractor or a physical therapist that's like reviewed like a stretching routine or things like that. Like with construction, we have our companies go through and get it vetted by a chiropractor or like a physical therapist to, hey, yes, you do these stretches, don't do these, that we do every morning. He may be a resource for that. I
think it's a great idea.
And then
I just think it's a great
idea. I think
as a show, like anything I can have on that helps printers overall, I want to do.
Yeah. If they don't have one on retainer or whatever, they should have one, because if they have everything else, I mean, that's job one right there.
Yeah, that's a great feedback for Printing United.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be huge.
All right. If someone could play you in a movie, Ryan, who would it be?
Ooh, Chris Pratt.
Dewey, who would play you in a movie?
Well, for Ryan, I was going to say Jason Statham, but for me, before I had the beard, would be Jason Segel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You do kind of look like Jason Segel with a beard.
What are you doing?
I said this before. I want Robert Redford from what's that movie he was in? There's that meme that goes around with Robert Redford with the big beard, and he just does the turn and he's like in the woods and he nods. Like that, it's just, that's what I want him to play me. I always loved Robert Redford. Which was also a full circle moment for going to Sundance. I was stoked to be there just because of Robert Redford.
That was cool, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. I love that.
Chris Pratt's doing a Navy SEAL movie called Way of the Warrior Kid this fall. Plug for that. It's a really cool kids book on like getting your workout routine going and going from the wimpy kid to kind of like the warrior kid mentality. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see that movie.
Well, he also did the Terminal List too. I think that's what really got him into like the whole military stuff. And I feel like he's had a trajectory since then of like working with more like military type stuff. So I do like Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Top 4 favorite movies of all time.
Okay. Going in different genres here. So starting with Christmas Vacation. Every like soon as like the holiday seasons even start, Christmas music comes on. Like we're watching that as a family. My kids, my youngest just loves Adam Sandler. So Happy Gilmore on that realm, like hilarious movie, but like so many of his movies. I got a chance to see his stand-up, like music show. So good.
Yeah.
So good. And then I was trying to think like what movies like are the go like for romance, like The Notebook. Meanwhile, my wife loved that movie.
The funny thing
for like action
about
Braveheart.
the romance thing, I always loved The Notebook too. I think that was like one of the first movies that I really cried in. And I had never seen it before either. Me and Christina watched it recently. It was Crazy Stupid Love with Ryan. And that one's one of the best like rom-com movies I've seen. Like it's just such a good movie. Like with him and Steve Carell, and he like teaches Steve Carell how to like be like go out and date, and then you find out, I'm ruining the movie, but like he finds out that it's
such a good movie.
Gets grounded and ends up finding out that he's dating Steve Carell's daughter, and then they fight about it in the end. It's so good. It's got everything you need in that type of movie. You said your favorite action movie was Braveheart?
Braveheart, yeah.
Dude, Braveheart rules.
That was a good one.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of those classics, but it's just great all around. I love the fucking like Scottish guy in that movie, the one who's just crazy and wild that he like meets in the woods, and he's like,
oh yeah,
just brings him along. That's like my favorite part of that whole movie is just him. Dewey got me to watch Safe Men. I've done it once. I got to do it a second time because I know it's 2 times through is what makes it.
Post nut clarity.
Okay. I've watched that. I have to watch it.
It's not good. It's
my favorite movie of all time.
Okay, so
Dewey loves it, swears it, watches it all the time, has screenings, and it's not bad. It's just not good. Like there's so many people in it though that are like now really great actors, and
ton.
It's just
almost the whole cast.
It's not, I don't know. I remember we got done with it, and I remember I was like, it is a cult classic probably, but it's just the whole like theme of the movie was just like, this is fucked up.
But I watched it and discovered it before I was 20 years old. Like it was a different time.
Yeah.
So it's like nostalgic special. I've never seen Goonies, so like I refuse to watch it because I don't have the nostalgic tie to it. I think I'm going to hate it. So I don't watch it.
I don't think you will.
I don't think you're right.
Anyway,
I think you'll like it. That's a classic.
I'm glad you watched it. You sent me a picture from your bed or whatever.
I watched it solely for you.
Yes. I'm glad you did. I'm so glad you did. Even if
that's the thing too.
Okay. Like
we've been talking about this is like putting in the newsletter or putting something people's movie recommendations, and then I want to get people's feedback, and maybe we do like a viewing party or something of like, you know, when you watch these movies, and then we'll get feedback of like, oh, I've never seen that or whatever. Pitch that out. Maybe a Crazy Stupid Love or something like that. We'll just do a movie night or whatever. But yeah. All right. Last question, because I think this would go good for you, Ryan, is what song do you want played at your funeral? You can do one that's like fun and for you, or like, do you want to be that guy who has like a sappy, like My Heart Will Go On or some shit play?
I love this question.
Well, if the Goo Goo Dolls, if I die young, the Goo Goo Dolls, Johnny Resnick could play Iris at my funeral. That'd be like a dream come true. So there we go.
Yeah.
That song is like, I know we've messaged about that song so many times, but
that's something that we haven't talked about publicly, but like me and you both have a deep love for the Goo Goo Dolls. So
yes,
I love that. That's that was my first concert I ever went to. It's near and dear to me. I've loved them for forever. I play their music all the time, and I like them a lot. Funny thing is, there's also another song too, like John Resnick has, that is just like, I love the song a lot. Is like the I'm Still Here. It's Jim's theme from Treasure Planet. It was like a solo thing
yeah,
that he did, and I love that song too. It just like sticks with me. I don't care if people think it's fucking lame or if it's like a Coldplay white guy band, but like I all right, Dewey, calm down.
Coldplay
Let's not
rules.
go that far.
they are good.
Rules.
I've been to so many Goo Goo Dolls shows. I love the band. I've never got a chance to meet him, but it's that song would be epic, I think.
Yeah.
Have you seen the YouTube version, the live at Daryl's house from Hall & Oates, where John shows up, and it's one of the best versions of Iris I've ever seen.
Really?
It's
I gotta
so
watch
good.
that.
I'll send you the link. I'll text you after this.
That song has got to be the most covered song ever.
Well, you've seen
like,
the meme now, right? Where it says, "Dad, tell me what you're like in the '90s," and that song's playing, and then it goes back. I haven't seen if John did that yet. I
saw somebody post earlier today that was like, I just want you to know that like we didn't like Goo Goo Dolls in the 90s, so I don't know why I would play that song to say like what I was like in the 90s. I was like, fuck this guy. Like, well, no, like you're wrong. Like, no, we liked that in the 90s. Yeah.
City of Angels came out in the 90s, didn't it? Like that's where that song is from. Like,
I think there's a few YouTube videos, or if I would have them on DVD or something, like shows that I wish I had a time machine that I could go back and be at. And I watch it every so often too. Is like Goo Goo Dolls live in Buffalo is like one of my all-time favorite live concerts ever. It's like pouring, dumping rain. It's like flooding. They're playing in the rain the entire time in Buffalo because they're from Buffalo. So that's why I think they're more near and dear to me, is like just like being in New York. It's one of those bands. But that's just like one of the greatest like live shows ever for me. And Metallica 1989 is like one of my favorite.
Metallica in Russia with Pantera for 1 million people. That'd be amazing. How humble is John Resnick to let Robbie keep writing songs every couple like a couple per record, and
he
still
just lets
playing
him
them
do
live
it.
and
It's
plays
like
them, like supports them.
It's like a tap on the head, like, buddy, I'll give you a few.
Yeah, this is cool. We'll do 1 or 2 of these in the set. My January friend.
It gives him an opportunity to go get a drink and come back.
yeah. I need to take just a breather. Robbie, you take this one, will you? For all these years.
I saw him play in Austin. It was the first show of an opening tour, and it did not go well. Like it kind of turned me off. I didn't go to another Goo Goo Dolls concert for 2 years because he got so mad at his band. Like
really,
he was like just turned around and be like, just yell like Brandon used to do that to me on stage too. So maybe I have PSD. Like you mess up a hit note and he just looks at you. You're like, you idiot. Like, I'm trying to flip the bass around, man. Like, give me a break. Like it's about the show. He's like, no, play the music, dumbass. Like, and so, but no, and then I've seen 2 shows since that have been like amazing. So
yeah. I mean, they've done it for so long, but anyway, thank you, Ryan, for taking the time. Thank you for going a run before this episode, getting primed. Thank you, Dewey, for doing this with me. Again, I just want to see your beautiful face, but you're really good at carrying on a thoughtful conversation. So I appreciate you both. And again, Ryan, I've always loved what you're working on and being a part and hanging out and talking to you. So thanks for taking the time to kind of let the other people who don't know you so well know a little bit more about you. But I appreciate you both very much.
Likewise, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job with the show and the community, and excited to do the upcoming camp with you. It's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So
yeah. All right, guys, enjoy your day, and I will talk to you both later on.
Sounds good.
See ya.